All right. All right.
Yo, welcome to Knicks at Night. I'm your co-host Stephen Fox. I'm here with Hoodie Kev. The Knicks beat the Pistons tonight in Detroit 109-90. The Knicks shot the lights out again as we went 13 for 26 for 50% from 3 and 44 for 86 for 51% from 2. This is the third straight game with 12 or more three-pointers, and when we do that, our record is now 10-3. We're now 7-2 in our last 9 games, 18-17 on the season, and we're now one game over 500. We have 18 wins in 35 games, and last year it took us 60 games to get win number 18. We're all alone in fourth place in the Eastern Conference. Who would have predicted that at the beginning of the season? We take the Spurs on in San Antonio on Tuesday at 8:30. The Knicks had 5 players in double figures, led by Randle's 25 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, including 17 in the second half, and RJ's 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Burks came up big again tonight with 16 points, and D Rose and quickly added 14 and 12 points respectively. We had another great defensive effort tonight with a special shout out to Nerlens Noel, who had 8 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals in 39 minutes, and that's after playing 41 minutes yesterday. This win capped the Knicks' first winning month since 2017 and our first winning record after 35 games since 2013. Go Tibbs. We'll go over the game. We'll recap the player's performance with the video panel and live chat. Hold on half a second there, Kev, and let me just say hello to the family in the chat. Let me go here. Whoops. So many things, so little time. How's your day, Kev?
Um, it's been a lot better. I don't know, I was sick earlier. I won't say
Oh,
sick. I don't know what was going on, but I've been hydrating myself like crazy, like a camel. The
sorry
last
about
two
that.
days.
Feeling not feeling well is that sucks, man. That really sucks.
I
Were
think
you?
it's the weather here.
Yeah, you said if it's fluctuating crazy.
Yeah. Um, really, really, really crazy. But I think I got a handle on it now.
Is it a cold?
No, it's not a cold. It was more like, I don't know, some kind of sinus thing. Because I only had like headaches, like continuous headaches,
Wow.
and that was it. Like I was stuck, like stopped up,
Yeah.
congested or something.
Yeah. So let me do a couple shout outs. YouTube watcher. Hope all is well. Robert Kahn. This was definitely a trap game and we won it. Yeah, where's my stat on that? Robert. I wrote down something like that in my notes that I'll find it somewhere. We're 9-4. We're now 10-4 versus teams that are not in the top 10 of their conference. So meaning we beat teams that we're supposed to beat. So we're 10-3 now against teams we're supposed to beat. So that's great. So Juju92, how are you, Juju? Hope all is well, man. Sean Hawkins. So I know there's other podcasts going on as usual at this time. So we'll have people coming in. So were you able to watch the game
Yes, I did.
and your thoughts?
Um, Honestly, I'm not impressed about a 20-point win against the lowly Detroit Pistons. I know that sounds weird.
No,
Um,
not at all. I thought that we beat a really bad team the other night, and we beat the 2 nights ago. We beat a really bad team, and we gave up 121 points. We beat the Pacers, but yeah, I'm with you. It was not the prettiest thing,
I mean, it's
and
not something to go home and write your mom about. Like we beat the Pistons.
yeah,
I,
yeah. And all the drama about us meeting our Dennis Smith Jr. that went by the wayside real quick. He had what was it? I wrote it down. He had 7 points, 4 assists, and he was there, but it was nothing that that you were like, oh my God, why did we ever give him up?
I'm just happy to see him play.
Me too. He's
I'm
a
happy he's
kid.
getting a chance
Me too.
to at least show something. It's I I'd rather have him playing not doing anything than sitting on the bench. I mean, that's for a lot of people, but everyone can't play. But I'm glad he's getting a chance somewhere. I'll
He's a
give him
kid.
that.
I 100% agree. And you know what? We've seen this across all sports as a Yankee fan, where we've traded for players and they come to New York after playing in Cincinnati or some other places, and they come to this big city and it's just not meant for them. And then they leave and you're like, oh my God, Sonny Gray or whomever, like, my God, they're playing so well in another place. But it's some people are not meant for the big lights, and I, like you said, these are all kids. So I hope Dennis Smith Jr. has a really good career. And
I don't like my lighting.
yeah, it's a little.
I'm in a hotel. I went home to
Oh,
Wilmington.
that's right. Yeah,
So keep on. I'm gonna see if I can adjust and do some stuff.
yeah. We got to build you a travel kit, a travel lighting kit when you're on the road. So, hey, Tibbs got me nervous at the end, keeping those guys, the starters, into the end. But I guess he was nervous about the Minnesota game a few games ago. But I was like, take these guys out. God forbid somebody gets hurt. You'll never hear the end of it.
That's my whole issue. Foxy is so I wrote on Twitter at the end of the third quarter, 23, and I was like, well, there's no point in putting Julius because I saw Julius on the bench. He looked fine. There was no point in putting Julius back in the game now, up 23 against the Pistons. And then like 9 minutes ago, he put him right back in. I was like,
You know why he put him in? I think he was going hoarse because with no fans in the stands, all you heard was Tibbs going, Obi! 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 Obi!
The sad thing, here's the funny thing, because I was watching the game and I heard it. And I was looking at Obi Toppin like, I don't
think people
see him
heard
doing
it.
anything wrong.
I think people heard it in Iowa. So
Yeah, so I was like, I don't see him doing anything wrong. Like, why are you getting on him and he's literally not even in the play. Like, his man doesn't have the ball, his man's in the corner, he's not doing anything wrong, but you're yelling out Obi.
Well, obviously he was doing something wrong. He was on the wrong defensive position. So
I guess. I mean,
he's screaming at him. But so I think there'll probably be things all over going viral tomorrow of Tibbs screaming Obi, But hey, we won, and it looks like Obi knows it's constructive. So hey, Sports Vibe TV, Keese. Hey, everybody, do me a favor. Please subscribe to Sports Vibe TV. I watched the video with Keith talking about a potential trade for Kevin Knox, and no offense intended, Hoodie Kev, but I thought it was really great, a great job, as usual. The guy, his content is spectacular. But it is better. So he did a perspective from Atlanta. It was from an Atlanta publication. So Keith did something like, so it showed what the value of, from outside the New York market. So they were saying, whether Rondo and, just a couple of players, there was a couple of different trade scenarios, and it was very thought-provoking. So Keese, as always, man, fantastic. So folks, both Keese and also Jonathan J.D., he wasn't on that one, but both of them just do fantastic work. Check out their work. Nick Yak, Sima Singh, salute. Can't do it like our Freezy. Simmer Sings in the building. C-Mac, as always, C-Mac. Enjoy hanging with you, man, going over stuff. King Matthew. So, Point Five, my man, Point Five. Wayne Peterson, again, salute, fellas. Great. We could have just mailed it in after. Yeah, but that's why we were saying. I think Tibbs, Point Five, was worried that we may have a deja vu with Minnesota and let them come back. That's why I think he left his starters in and stuff like that. But you know what, Kev? My biggest concern is the health or the not wearing out D Rose.
Yeah, so I think it was Macri. He was like, when D Rose hits that 27-minute mark, his body just shuts down.
Yep.
And like tonight, like when D Rose, I think it was like 5 minutes left in the game. Maybe about 4 minutes left in the game when D Rose came back in for quickly. And again, we're up by 20
I
points.
was shocked.
I'm like,
I wrote a note like, why?
what is Tibbs doing?
And Quick was getting in the groove. He wasn't in it early in the game, but all of a sudden he started lighting it up real quick. So,
it's like I guess Detroit was going to hit like a 22-point shot and tie the game up.
plus a foul.
Yeah, plus a foul. And he had to stop that before that happened. The infamous 22-point play. We can't have that going on. So
yeah.
But so that's the one thing that stood out to me. It's not even a win. Is if God forbid, and this is just saying, starting out, whatever. If Isaiah Stewart had rolled into Julius Randle at like 3 minutes left in the game with nothing to play for, and he would have hurt himself.
I know.
Everybody was like, why was Julius Randle in the game in the first place at this point in time?
I know.
How many times
and
across
also
sports?
the same thing back to back with Rose. Even if he didn't get hurt, the guy is, what's going to happen by the time the playoffs come around? If we do, he's going to be all worn out. So I know nobody would ever believe this, but I think we may need Peyton back soon so we can limit his minutes, because I thought he was going to play Quick a little more, and it looks like he has a quick hook with, Quick only played 16 minutes tonight. So I thought he was going to be over the, Rose was 32 and Quick was so
like I said, that last 5 minutes, D Rose did not need to be in the game.
Did not need to be in the game. And I was cool about, give it to Frank then. But keep D Rose fresh. So,
especially having to travel. We have one off day. Then we're traveling to San Antonio.
Exactly.
Against, a Western Conference playoff team. This is not like we're going against Detroit or, Sacramento. So I don't understand. It reminded me, with no fans being in the game, it reminded me of something my old high school basketball coach used to say. Whenever he heard like that sneaker sound on the floor.
The squeaking?
He said, yeah, he's like, y'all are tired because you're out there dragging your leg because all I hear is your sneakers.
Yeah.
Like really, that's what that means. Like when you hear that much sneaker sound, it's because players are dragging their legs. They're not picking up their feet.
I just thought they were cutting hard. I never thought about it.
No, that's what that is. Is when you're not picking up your feet, you're dragging them as you run.
It absolutely makes sense.
So an old wisdom from a great coach.
Yeah. Did you get a haircut?
Why do people keep saying that? No, it's probably the lighting, but my hair is literally the same.
No, I'm only going by the chat. Nothing. I'm not that I thought, but I saw some comments in the chat, so I'm like,
yeah, no,
because we're under a microscope, everything we do.
Yeah, so no. Wayne Peterson earlier said my lighting looked like I might interrogate a suspect.
Haddock and Sharon, hope all is well. Hey, Haddock, it's coming on at 12 o'clock. Your Uncle Foxy here. If you got school tomorrow, I need you to think about that. I don't want you up too late, man. I don't care if Friday and Saturdays, but I'll be, please, Knicks are important, but schoolwork's more important. So let's see. Wayne Peterson, why was Randle in the game with 5 minutes to go in a blowout game? Tibbs is making me scratch my head at times. Wayne Peterson, you're echoing exactly what my brother Kevin and I were saying, that God forbid, man, something happened. Just come on, man. And it looked like they had nothing left that was going to, like Kev said, they weren't going to make a 22-point shot from the corner. So
no, you don't get extra points.
So, Unghetto J, New York City, the Knicks with the win, absolutely. Nola was looking nice for sure, Estetech said. When we hit that floater from 7 feet, I started laughing so hard. Yeah, I know, man. You knew sooner or later. He's been making a few in the last few games. So, absolutely. Hey, as always, chat, this is your show. So let us know the questions, let us know the topics, let us know what you want to talk about tonight. We love when you're interacting with us. So, so let the Fox Man go over a couple of statistics. So let me see just something real quick. Randle had 3. So Randle has made 67 threes so far this year. He made 64 all of last year. So that's a nice stat. Also a nice stat for RJ. RJ, this is his 14th, 20th point game so far this season, and he had 13 in total last season in 56 games. So absolutely seeing development there. RJ's up to 34% from three after his tough start. So I'm a when the kid's tough, I can be tough, but when the kid's good, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a hater. I just see it I call it like I see it, and he had a good game. I wish So just real quick, so RJ's game tonight was 21 points, shot 8 for 13, 2 for 4 from three, 3 for 3 from the line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, plus 18 in 35 minutes. Can't ask any more than that, man. And there was a point made during the broadcast. I don't know if you heard it, Kev, but do the Knicks have a captain?
I don't think so.
I know everybody's like, that's a really good question. I don't know if we do, but if we don't, they should name Randle the captain of this team. I think
Maybe it's one of them unwritten things
it
where
is.
you
I
don't.
thought you get that C. You get that C up
Yes,
on the thing.
I think it's like an unwritten kind of thing, maybe. But I don't think they've officially like named a captain, um, or captains. So maybe I mean you got to think at the beginning of the season. Like again, nobody thought Julius Randle was going to play like this.
I know, and
I
I
mean,
don't
maybe
know.
you can anoint him as the season had went on, but I could probably see why they didn't initially come out with captains.
But there's so many parts of his game that I think are sustainable for the rest of the season and the rest of his career. I don't know him shooting from three and the way he's shooting the lights out, but here's another interesting stat that for the season we're ranked 24th in offense, and we know all the stuff with Peyton and the pace and how brutally obvious it is with just a few games with him out. With D Rose and with everybody else quick and Frank in there, that the whole pace and ball movement changes. But the last 15 games, we've moved up to 18th place, and we're shooting very well from three. We're not putting it up like other teams, as a part of our offense, a delusion and threes, but the offense is creeping up, and that's really really nice to see. Also, our boy Quick, 94 out of 100. So he has the record. So they only go back 20 years in the records. So that's the highest for somebody coming into the league for their first 100 foul shots, making 94 out of 100, quickly set the record tonight.
You would think
So
they only track that back 20 years.
I know, it was shocking, but it's kind of weird. I think what was it, the 1980 season is when 3 pointers started. So it's like, wow, a lot of people don't realize that, So Willis Reed will always be the captain. Nick Yak said, "Word, I totally, totally agree with you about that. Willis was fantastic, and I love my Clyde, but Clyde will be the first to say that. Well, I'm hearing some echoes. Clyde will be the first to say that will be the eternal captain of the New York Knicks. So Haddock and Sharon, my little like a son to me. I wouldn't say brother, but more like a son. RJ almost shooting 34% three. He's shooting since exactly. He's really picked it up. His form looks good. I wish he shoot more of those mid range. He's looking smooth. He finished at the rim tonight, and like I said, nothing to say about the kid other than it was the last few games very very positive.
Oh,
Julius Randle, man, every game, Kev, you could say all right, what's my predictions for tonight? And it's like now you could just pencil in for Julius, he's going to be putting up 20 some odd points and he's going to put up double digit rebounds every game or, in that vicinity. So tonight, the final line on Randle, 25 points, 10 for 18 shooting, 3 for 6 from three, 2 for 3 from the foul line, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover in 38 minutes. Can't ask any more, can you, Kev?
crap. No, no.
I thought you were going to the Tibbs school of yes, I can.
I mean, I look at it as, we had a great, 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 great player here once, right? Or more than once in my lifetime. I'll say, we had a great player here, number 3030. And every night, night in and night out, you just expected him to do what he was going to do.
Exactly.
There wasn't like an if, ands, or buts. Like, oh, you read the paper the next day, 24, 12, 3
Pencil it
blocks.
in, man. It was good as
Okay.
gold.
And so I look at Julius this season, and at a certain point in time, it's just like, okay, well, he's going to give me 20 points, he's going to be 10 assists, a couple assists. It's just like, it is what it is. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked by it. It just is what it is by now. Like, and
But
for
it's
anyone,
impressive because we're penciling in regardless of the competition of the team we're playing. We know, he's at that level now. He's going to get it no matter whom he's facing.
I hope so. Because like I said, depending, I I believe wholeheartedly this is going to be a playoff team. There was never any doubt in my mind. There might have been and may continue to be bumps and bruises along the way, the things that I disagree with about how this team is operated. But but I still believe wholeheartedly this is going to be a playoff team. I've said that from the beginning.
You have said that from
And
the beginning.
and so and I think we brought this up the other night. I don't think you were on. The other night is if Julius is matched up with Giannis, or he has to go against Philadelphia, or he has to play against Durant, that's when it's going to matter. Because we brought up the fact that Julius Randle's never played in the playoffs, right? So I think we were talking about another player. I can't remember who. I think it was like Karl Anthony Towns or something. And I was like, well, the difference in Karl Anthony Towns, regardless of whether you like him or not, is regardless of whether he had Jimmy Butler or not, is that Karl Anthony Towns has been in the playoffs. And Julius Randle has not. And that wasn't a knock on Julius. It was the fact that we have yet to see what he's going to do when the lights are the biggest.
It was facts on him.
Yeah, when the lights are the biggest and the brightest, and everything is on you as our best player, because we all know in the playoffs, teams are going to focus on the best player. You got 4 games to lead your team. And so this is where, are we going to start talking Julius in the same light as some of the great Knicks in the past, the Patrick Ewings, the Willis Reeds, or are we going to talk about him like Carmelo?
Only time will tell. I think that we'll get through this season, and hopefully we'll say next season that, and obviously I think it'll be a contract year next year, so he'll have even more motivation to maintain, if not improve on it. And it's the second game with Burks, playing well, shooting well.
Oh, God.
Hey, he still scored 16 tonight, Kev. I know. You like your boy, but Burks, ladies and gentlemen, was 16 points tonight, 7 for 13, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover in 26 minutes. He was a -2. So Randle was a +21, by the way, if I did not say that. And just, I just want to say this only because I care about my Kev, his favorite player, Reggie Bullock tonight was 9 points, 3 for 5, 3 for 3 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists in 22 minutes, and he was a +21. So,
let me ask you a question. Did you see Reggie Bullock take a shot in the second half?
I don't think I did. That's a good point. So I'll tell you in a sec. I keep all these crazy records. So
Reggie Bullock did not attempt a shot in the second half.
Reggie Bullock, 2 for 4, and Reggie Bullock attempted 1 shot in the second half.
I must have missed that.
Yep.
That must have been like a quick throw up or something.
No, it was a 3. He hit 1 3 because he was 2 for 2 in the first half from 3, and he ended up the game 3 for 3 from 3. So, and he had 6 points. Yep, he had 6 points in the first half and finished with 9.
So I must have missed that one.
Yeah. So, but hey, that's his MO usually. That he lights it up in the first half, and then he's not there in the second half. So let's
So
see.
I was listening to it might have been Macri that maybe Tibbs, and I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest with you, that it might be the beginning of the end for Reggie Bullock because Tibbs had the starters in with Alec Burks in and not Reggie Bullock. And so maybe there's Macri was like maybe he's trying to experiment and see how Alec Burks looks in the starting role or with the starters.
Yeah, it's going to come down to D. If Tibbs is happy with Burks' effort and how well he does on D, then Bullock will stay in.
I'm not happy with it.
So we'll see. So Estetec Records got destroyed tonight. Yeah, and Bradley Beal had a bad last couple of seconds in the game. Celtics came back in the last second. Tatum made a shot, and then on the inbounds, Beal's legs slipped and went out of bounds, and Boston got the ball back, and they won it in the last couple of seconds. So, and they've been playing very good basketball recently, the Washington. So Boston came back from that. The scary thing, Kev, is that we're all alone in first place, and that sounds so nice, but it's only a half a game. So the Heat, it's just frightening how congested it is. So we're in fourth place, 18 to 17, 4.5 games out of the first place, but the Heat are half game out, 17 to 7, half game out from us. So is the Celtics. So is the Raptors. The Bulls are 1.5. The Pacers and the Hornets are both 1.5 games out. So from 4 to 10, the 10th spot is only 1.5 games out from us. So it's going to be, and with that brutal second half schedule, God, please, I don't want to see any injuries. That's why we preface folks in the chat and stuff with, please don't overplay Rose. So by the time it gets down to really crunch time the last few weeks, that Rose has nothing in the gas tank. So hopefully Peyton will come back from that. But he kills the pace. I said the other day that I have a new nickname for him. He's a pace and a ball movement vampire, Peyton. You put him in, and the pace of the game and the ball movement just dies. So no Oladipo. Did you see he turned down an extension, Oladipo?
I did.
Yeah, he turned
I
down like a
did.
like a
For
50.
2 years, 42.5 million.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
thought it was.
about
I thought it was.
21, 21.7
Yeah,
million a year.
and it's funny for a guy that's had an injury history and is still out with a foot injury that he still thinks that his value is at that level. But I guess they know a lot talking to their agents. They know their value. Their value. Wayne Peterson, the second half is why I believe the Knicks will make a move. I think Wayne, to your thing, I think they're going to make a move not only for the to make a move and make the playoffs, but that $15 million we got. I don't think they're going to disperse that over the players. I think something's going to happen before the 25th, March 25th deadline. And it's kind of weird to think we have one game to go. So worst case scenario, at the halfway mark, we'll be 500 if we lose our next game. So we're playing San Antonio. It'll be our first time seeing Devin Vassell, who a lot of people wanted the Knicks to take. He's not having the season so far that but that's not fair to him. That it's just San Antonio. You get minutes. Pop always has the same thing. Hey, Donald Cannon. Just OG. Appreciate all your support. Salute to you, as always. Appreciate all your feedback. No point five. No to Victor Oladipo. Agree with you there, man. Hey, Quattro Cinco, Devin's out with the COVID protocol. Thank you, Quattro Cinco. Again, to you also. Hope all is well with you and your family. Yeah, Brooklyn Belly, we have 2 games to go before the thing, so it's going to be nice to see Julius there, and I think Obi's going to be there for for the slam dunk, and I don't know if they've named the players for the Rising Stars. There won't be a Rising Stars
No, they're
game,
not.
but there'll be people named just as an honor. So I was wondering if Quick and or because it's sophomores too, if both Quick and RJ will get acknowledged. And that no different. It's on a smaller scale than obviously within Julius, but it'll be nice. Hector Beauchamp, distant cousin of Jim Beauchamp of the New York Mets, Project Nerd HQ. Please check out his website. Hope all is well, Hector, my man. Good dude. Love talking to Hector. He's a good guy, man. So let's see what else. Toppin tonight played 19 more minutes. So Julius from a small. Whoa, what's your coming from? So uh, Obi played the 4, and Julius moved to the 5 in a little small ball. So 4 points tonight, Obi. 2 for 5 shooting. 0 for 1 from 3. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover. He was a +4 in 19 minutes. Plus, he had somebody going, Obi! Obi! So, Frank didn't score tonight. So, Frank had no points in 13 minutes, 0 for 4, 0 for 2 from 3, didn't have a rebound, didn't have an assist. So, he had a normal game for himself. He had 1 steal, 1 turnover. But, hey, 13 minutes, anything at this point to keep Rose fresh. Anything to keep our guy Rose fresh. So I think Macri, if he made that comment about the 27-minute, I agree with him, man. I think that he should be playing maybe 8 minutes in the first quarter, 8 minutes in the third quarter, and then close out the game with 6 or 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, depending on the game, to try to keep that guy fresh, because he looked hurting, Rose, at the end of the game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, how many minutes he played yesterday?
Yesterday,
Well, he played like 30 plus minutes yesterday too.
28.
Oh wow, wow.
No, I'm wrong. My I must have put my thing in wrong order. He played 28 against the Kings. And, ooh, what the hell did I do to my... Oh, I was right. The last game it was against the Kings, wasn't it? No, I thought it was the Pacers.
Yeah, the Pacers was the last game.
Yeah, hold on. I keep all my notes here, so... La-dee. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's 12:23 game. No. I don't know.
I find out.
Foxy's getting old.
There you go. And find out.
So, God, that was weird. I usually...
It's Indiana. So Derrick Rose played 38 minutes
Whoa, Wilbur.
against Pacers yesterday, and 32 today.
Wow. 32 today?
Yeah.
I had him as 32. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so yeah, it's a touch much, man.
That's 70 what 70 minutes
something
in 2 days.
Yeah, we're gonna age him real quick. Yeah, so Sima Singh, 38. Yeah, almost 38 minutes. Thanks, Sima. Hope all is well down in deep in the heart of Texas. Brother BKL Contreras, I hope all is well. Psycho Anwar, Tibbs needs to play more guys because all starters are playing heavy minutes. Like Randle plays a lot, and I want nothing to happen to any of them. Us too. He has a real tight 9-man rotation, man. Man. Thesis Thomas, salute to you. Both Kevin and I appreciate all your support. Let's see. Stop at videos. Yep. Let's see. Prince Pote. Hey, how are you, man? Thank you for all your kind words. Kevin and I always appreciate it. We love doing this. We want to entertain you. And again, this is your show. So please, questions, topics, everything, anything you want. So quickly tonight, 12 points, 16 minutes, 4 for 9 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, 3 for 3 from the foul line. Like I said, the guy's automatic. 2 rebounds, no assists. Come on, quick. No steals, no blocks, 1 turnover, +2 on the night. And let's see. I thought I wrote another note. I always write these little notes to share little crazy stuff I see. So I think I may have already shared it. So the one I wrote was, and Clyde brought it up, and our favorite Chuck B brought this up. Sometimes he looks more focused on getting the foul than he is on the shot, and if he
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
get
true.
the call, so come on, quick, focus on the shot, and if he gets that foul, cool. Hey, DeCoulis 718, salute to you. Thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate it a whole lot. And folks, do us a favor, show some love for our Freezy. That hit those likes, subscribe, and remind the bells so you don't miss out on any Knicks at Night and Knicks Morning Drive broadcast. Please share this link on your favorite social media platforms so we grow the Blarens Tears family. Thanks again for getting us over 1,360 subscribers. 1,500, here we come. We greatly appreciate it. And a special shout out to Sima Singh, Bodega Wi-Fi, and the new Knicks, the greatest mods the Lord's ever made. Kaiser Soze, I hope all is well. Let's see. So, what other thoughts you got, Kev? Talk to me, man.
Well, like I was saying, um, girl, I'm having a whole brain fart right now. Like I said, I'm not taking too much stock into what we do against the Pistons. I think we'll have a better gauge of where this team is this time of season on Tuesday against the Spurs.
Did you hear though statistically, out of their 9 wins, they've beat some of the elite teams in the league. They beat the Lakers. They've beat the Nets. They beat a lot of great teams. So it was a scary game in the sense that their record was a little misleading because all of their wins were against top-notch teams, unlike some other things. So I was worrying that it was going to be, they were going to play well against us, but it's hard to play well if you have Dennis Smith as your point guard.
Well, I know that since they benched Blake, they've been looking for to trade him, so they pretty much shut him down, and that's probably like a big factor in it, because Blake isn't a bad player, and he probably still has some trade value. Um, so maybe a team like Boston or,
Even with that contract, what's left?
I mean, people look at contracts
I know.
like
Coach
that.
Colorblocks went into that it's another asset for them to use to trade and stuff like that. So
Look at Boston. It would be nothing. Boston could trade for Blake Griffin for nothing because they have like a $26 million cap exception from Gordon Hayward. So they can literally give up nothing and get Blake Griffin.
yeah,
Um, just to get that off of Detroit's hands. And besides, if Blake, the thing about a player like Blake Griffin is, you haven't he's been playing okay, but once he gets to like a different environment like Boston, you're gonna see him tearing back like, whoa, where did this Blake Griffin come from? That's a scary thing about a player like Blake Griffin. Like, was he really phoning it in Detroit some of this season, waiting because he knew he was gonna get bought out? Because we've seen that time and time again. A player gets traded to like a contending team, and then it's like, well, where did this player come from?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
We've seen that too many times. So, hey, Zachariah Anwar, he says I like Nico Mannion. He could be a solid backup point guard. Zachariah, there's a rule in basketball: never ever sign a redheaded point guard. It just doesn't work out. History has shown us there's no room for redheaded point guards in the NBA. So I don't know if you missed that rule, but I think it's somewhere on page something in the rule book. No redhead point guards ever. I watched a lot of Nico in college, and I saw some of him in the G League, and I just don't think he's going to be able to stay with speed wise and stuff like that. He's going to be able to he'll have probably a good career in Europe or something, but I just don't see him having a real career. So let's see. Hey, Nerlens Noel. I opened up with it. You know, you can't really ask. He's playing well. Mitch is out and he's putting in brutal minutes on a body that looks kind of beat up. Where we saw him hurt. But he played 39 minutes today, 41 yesterday, 8 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals. He's intimidating shots. He hit that, I don't know what you call that, is a floater, a jumper, a floater, I don't know, a combination or whatever. But he's playing well, and now with Taj out and everything, I'm like, go. How long are they going to be able to hold on? They're saying Taj is like day to day, but usually a sprained ankle like that, and I think you
Well, I know he didn't go. He's back in New York, so he hasn't even
treatment.
traveled on the West Coast trip.
Yeah,
So that being said, is he's probably still not gonna play against San Antonio because he would at least came with us on the trip.
yeah.
So there's that. So
Brooklyn Belly said DSJ wanted smoke with IQ, but I think he put out that smoke with the air ball. A couple of the air balls he put up, the wind from those air balls put out that smoke. So Robert Arahu, I hope all is well. What about the great Luke Radnauer? Yeah, lots of laughs. I know. Without Noel, this team loses that Pacers game. Yeah, I know, man. He definitely is a very good shot blocker. If the man, and we could say this about Mitch, but if he only had hands, he definitely does not
yeah,
have.
he can be a little brutal.
Yeah, those hands are a little buttery for me, but hey, he was a great pickup. That we paid virtually nothing to get the guy, and he's filling in. So I hope they put him in an oxygen tent for the next day or so before the San Antonio game, and try to keep him healthy. But it's interesting to see what they're gonna do, man. So yep, people
I
saying
mean, I feel like a trade. I mean, I don't know who, um, but it um there it has to be something going on because Taj is older, so you expect injuries from him. Nerlens Noel is off injured. And so it's like playing with fire, having to deal with some of these injuries like this, and not having that kind of uh, protection could come and hurt you. So that's why I think that's what I think. I think we need to make some move for some big man. There's a report that Karl Anthony Towns or Tibbs would be open to having Karl Anthony Towns back or coaching Karl Anthony Towns again. So there's that. But I don't think the Timberwolves will trade Karl Anthony Towns in season. That's an off-season kind of move. But we are probably one of the few teams. Now I am on record, and I don't want everyone to kill me, right? I really don't. I said this about a week ago that I am all for trading Julius and Mitch for Karl Anthony Towns.
oh god.
See, here's the thing. So, right. So, this really hit me when we played Minnesota, and I called Karl Anthony Towns. I was like, wow, this is an amazing. Like when you watch Karl Anthony Towns, you're like, this kid is amazing and can do everything. And that's not taking anything away from what Julius can do, or Julius has done, right? Not taking anything at all because Julius has worked tremendously on his game to get to this point, right? But think about this. Karl Anthony Towns is playing off of just pure talent. But Julius Randle had to work this hard to get to this level, right? So just imagine, like, if Karl Anthony Towns put in the work that Julius Randle has done, the things that we can sit here and say that one day, because he's still, what,
He's a
24,
kid.
25? I think he's 25, right? So he probably had like 10 years in him. Then we can sit here and say that Karl Anthony Towns is one of the greatest centers the Knicks have ever had if we got him. That would
Yeah,
definitely be saying something, knowing some of the centers we've had.
yeah, he is 25. Towns, so he's a kid. He's entering his prime. Hey, he's an
And he's had one of his better seasons
elite
under.
offensive player. It's just concerns on the defensive side of the ball, and also just he's not a leader, man, or he hasn't demonstrated leadership that much in the past. He's there, but he's whether it was Butler or he's just never been the leader of the team. He's just there, and
The whole leader thing is.
I think the
It's
leader thing, it could be overrated if you have the right mature players, and a leader could be underrated if you don't. That you need somebody to keep. It just depends on the mix of the players that you have.
a question. What do you expect a leader to do, right? Like, who, if I ask you, because you said earlier we don't have a captain, right? Well, who's the leader of this team? Having a leader of this team is different from having a captain. And someone say that Tom Thibodeau is the leader of this team.
Yeah, I agree. Hi, Freezy, you there? But I think to that point, like a Charles Oakley,
I'm here.
He'd be
I'm
like a
here.
leader, and if somebody wasn't putting out the effort, he'd be in somebody's face, or he wouldn't care about chewing whomever out to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So, isn't
Are
life
you eating Pringles or something, Freezy?
No, they're vegetable Pringles. They're totally vegetarian Pringles. He got them next to the Chinese vegetarian egg rolls and lo mein.
Yeah, sounds like something I wouldn't want.
I
Yep.
feel bad for
Yep.
Freezy.
You're exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, man.
Hey,
Did
Freezy,
Hoodie Kev
how are
just
you
fall off the
feeling?
wagon? Did you
Pardon?
see? I'm great, man.
Oh,
Did
good.
Hoodie Kev just fall off the wagon?
In what way?
Did I pick up a bottle or something? Am I drunk?
We were talking about Julius Randle, and you said trade him for Carlton Towns.
I said I made that statement last week after watching Carl Anthony Towns. Yes, I said that. I was just reiterating right now that I would do that.
Did you just say imagine Carlton Towns putting in the work by Julius Randle? He's playing only on talent right now.
I did say that. Yes.
Yeah, and I also brought up. It was mentioned during the broadcast that is there a captain on this team? And we didn't know. I don't know if there is. And I said if there isn't a publicly anointed captain, they should make Randle our captain. Thoughts, Freeze?
Hey man, I don't care either way. I mean, because and the reason why I say that is not disrespectful to the point, but or to the point of view. What I think is when a leader is like porn. You know it when you see it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't know if you need to have. I don't know if you need to have a guy with a C on his chest just to know that he's the leader of guys. What makes me think Julius Randle is the leader of guys was that press conference when they when they were trying to talk to Julius after the game, and the guys all rallied around Julius to say support Julius for the All-Star game and things of that sort.
Yeah, Pinson,
And
RJ, and Quick.
Yeah, guys were like, yo, support our leader, basically. So
Yeah. Hey, a special shout out to Yo Elvis and Tenza. Thank you so much for the super chat. We greatly appreciate it. Yo Elvis says, "You make that trade, Knicks going back to the lottery. Town is so lazy. Laugh my ass off, Kev. You said that you want him to put in work. Jules has already done that. So,
Well, I didn't say. Well, one, I didn't say.
Let me just say thank you for the super chat. Thank you, and just real quick, Allah Wise, my man, my field producer. I hope all is well. Anthony D, all is well again. Thesis Thomas L Marshall, again one of my good guys. I love talking to L Marshall. So take it, Kev. Sorry.
I didn't say I wanted to put in work. What I said was Carl Anthony Towns is so talented, right? that he can be lazy compared to some of you and still put up like 25 and 15, right? That's lazy basketball for Karl Anthony Towns. Think about that. Julius Randle puts in work, has worked extraordinarily hard to put up the same exact numbers that a lazy player puts up.
Plus conditioning.
Plus conditioning. Because Karl Anthony Towns is just that much more talented than Julius Randle. I know you all don't want to hear that because Julius Randle is having a great season, but with just pure talent, Karl Anthony Towns is a more talented player than Julius Randle. And if you think about that, just think about that, what I just said. Karl Anthony Towns is lazy. You all say he's lazy and doesn't do anything. But as hard as Julius Randle's working, he's putting up the same numbers as a player who's just simply lazy to you guys. And you don't want that. Yeah. A guy who, if he wasn't lazy, would probably putting up just ridiculously crazy numbers. And he put up ridiculously crazy numbers under Tom Thibodeau when Tom Thibodeau was his coach.
Yeah. Quattro Cinco says, I was high on Cat until that year that they played the Rockets in the playoffs, and I saw P.J. Tucker muscling him. Sorry, Freeze. Thanks, Quattro. Take it, Freeze.
Man, I was just gonna say, man, Karl Anthony Towns was the number 1 pick, right?
He was
in his draft. He was number 1 pick in his draft, and we're questioning.
He was the first pick. He was the first pick overall. Actually,
I'm not. Listen, people in the chat are saying that he's lazy.
2015.
I'm not saying he's lazy. That's what people in the chat are saying. They're saying he's lazy.
He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. So, but he's a beast, I think, on one side of the ball. I just don't know if he's ever be a beast on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you come into the paint. He's a big boy. He'll block it, but I'd love to see him down low more. You know, I hate seeing guys that big. 6'11", I'll round it off 7-footer, shooting threes. Hanging out by that 3-point line the whole time. Hey, I don't mind sometimes you want those pick and pops and other things and opening up the paint and other things, but a little bit of both, man. You're a big boy, and there's some real bad centers in this league. Use that girth to your advantage. So I'm glad he didn't do it to us. We had nobody there, and he could have lit us up, and he still lit us up.
I mean, here's the thing about that. I've seen Karl Anthony Towns in the paint, right? Look at Embiid. Embiid might be the most dominant player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Or dominant center in the NBA.
Yeah.
And people argue that he's out on the 3-point line too much. And that's just how basketball is. It's not like the 90s we had Olajuwon and Ewing and Robinson all on the paint bodying everybody, or Malone. It's okay. Like, we just basically said that Julius Randle is hitting a career high in threes. So Julius Randle's not just staying in the paint bodying anybody either.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And it's funny. It's hitting me. I've been watching a lot of Cade Cunningham. And there's some players that don't play with a frenzy. You watch a Dennis Rodman in the past, or you watch just certain players, there's a frenetic part to them. And then there's other players that are just smooth. Their gait, their flow is just smooth, and people sometimes, I think, confuse that smooth, that never getting too high and never too low as lazy. And it's like, but Cat just put up 25 points and 17 rebounds. So how does a lazy guy get those stats?
Yeah, it's like Knicks fans would have complained we had Tim Duncan because he doesn't play with fire. We would have like, Tim Duncan, he doesn't want it enough.
Yeah, he dunked the ball and he didn't look at the guy. Didn't step over him.
We literally think about. We probably would have complained about Tim Duncan had we had him.
Yeah,
he didn't have that fire. He didn't want it enough.
Yeah, hey, Katz is a serious player, and if anybody could bring other elements to his game, well, I don't know, Tibbs, you already played for Tibbs, but hey.
Well, here's the thing. Under Tibbs, he averaged. Let me see this year. He averaged 24 and 12, 21 and 12, and 20. 25-1 and 25-12. And well, basically, I would say the last year technically didn't count because Tibbs was only there for like 20 games. So, so basically, he averaged 25-21 and 12 under Tibbs,
and almost 1.5 blocks.
So let's not say that I don't think Tibbs can get the best out of him, and we've seen that he has. While he played in 82 games both those seasons, also. So
he's
he
a
was
phenomenal 3-point shooter, man. He's a phenomenal 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he averages 39% for his career.
Rounded off, you could say 40, man.
He's getting 40% off of about 4 shots. Actually, no. So in last season, in 2019-20, he averaged 8 threes a game and averaged 41%.
Yeah. L. Marshall said it's not that Cat's lazy. He just doesn't do enough like Shaq. Kobe said it. Shaq could have done more, but he didn't put enough work in the gym. So
again, see, we're complaining because we're talking about Shaquille O'Neal. So all of us, anybody would have wanted Shaquille O'Neal. He didn't work hard enough. Are you serious? We got to calm down as fans sometimes and just appreciate greatness when we have it. We won't expect so much, but just don't see the greatness that's right in front of us sometimes because our expectation is here, but we're already getting greatness. Like anyone who complained that Shaq wasn't great, I don't know what to say. Like the man was the most unstoppable force probably in the history of basketball, and we're saying that
if you got the point, if you got the ball on a certain part of the paint, it was your best thing was a Shaq hack because he was going to dunk it. There was not a damn thing you were going to do, and I don't care if it was Dwight Howard in his prime or whatever. But wow,
and then plus Kobe Bryant never had to move 7'1", 325 pounds up down the floor. You know what I'm saying? Kobe Bryant never had to move that body. You know what I'm saying? Kobe Bryant was 6'6", 205, right? All right, Shaquille O'Neal, 7'1", 325. It's easy to say, "Hey, big guy, you need to do more."
He wasn't 325, and I think in his last few seasons.
Right,
right. It was Haystack Calhoun level.
yeah, man. He was, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we criticize certain players, man. We need to keep things in perspective. Like shooting guards, don't tell centers how to play ball. You know what I'm saying? Because the center position is way different from the shooting guard position. Right.
It is a complex. It is a complex thing, man. They're big bodies. They're so many guys we've seen, great guys over the years, freeze. At that level, they have foot problems. The Rick Smiths and other players, Yao Mings, and that were really good players. But it's hard to keep a big healthy, man. Their bodies get broken up, so maybe they're playing at a certain level because if they do what we're expecting of a wing, they're really going to get injured quickly. So,
I just believe that in the history of basketball, even though the game has changed, when you have a great big man will do more for your team than a great guard. Other than this guy named Mike.
This is a question, not a statement, but do you go by that remark in today's NBA as much as you went by the remark in like the 80s and 90s?
Yes, this is any generation.
Basketball. Okay, cool.
In any generation, if you have a great big man, you can do more of a great big man than you can. Now, there are exceptions. Like I said, Michael Jordan, clearly the exception. Some would say Steph Curry and LeBron James are exceptions, right? But like I said, Joel Embiid would thrive in any era, right? You can put Joel Embiid in the 90s, the 80s.
He may even thrive even bigger in early years because, the Will Chamberlain years and stuff like that. There was only a few centers that were his size, and he really didn't have the competition. So a guy like Embiid would be unbelievable in those eras.
And the reason why centers are so important is like with guards. You can throw multiple defenders and multiple bodies at guards, right? to just contain and slow it down. There's not that many bodies that you can throw at a big guy. Like a great big guy. A great big guy will disrupt everything that you want to do because they will control the entire flow of a game.
Total. And
And
if you collapse and do everything, then everybody else is open. So it just has
exactly, and you
it's
can't do that with
dominoes.
guard.
Yeah.
That's why I would take a great big man in any era over a great guard. Like I said, there's exceptions, obviously, but I just that's why I like Julius. I really do, but I feel like
Oh
Julius
boy, here we go.
was
Here we go. Here we go. We about to fall off the wagon, man. Really?
no, it's not falling off the wagon. It's just
No, I'm just saying. Did the Knicks have an All Star this year?
Yes, we do. Finally.
Right.
so
So
again.
so 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 who
So
who's
you're
the All Star this year?
so you're just happy having an all-star.
Isn't it Theo Pinson?
Theo Pinson.
All
Theo
I'm
Pinson.
saying is 3 inches goes a long way. I'd rather have 7 feet.
That's what she said.
Yep. That's what she said.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
I'd rather have
So
7 feet than 6'9".
so Stephen Fox, answer this question for me: Is the Minnesota Timberwolves in first place in the Western Conference since
No,
3
they're-
inches matters? Okay.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Don Freezy, they're not.
Okay. All right.
So no, they're not.
They're
Right.
7-28. They've lost 8 in a row.
So here's the thing. Number 1 in the West has a guy who's 7'2". Number 2 in the West has like a 6'11", 7-foot guy. The Clippers are just an abnormal kind of thing. The number 4 team has a 7-footer. In the East, number 1 team has a 7-footer. Number 2 team, they're just a class of their own. They have 3 incredible players. So that's the thing about it. There's centers. The number 1 seeds, both have legit 7-footers that's anchoring their entire team. If you want to unmute and say something to that? No, I don't think he did.
I don't know where you went just now. You legit.
You asked me. You said
no. You just wait a minute. Wait. You said okay. So you just said I don't think Uncle Freezy want to unmute and say something, and then when I unmuted to say something, you cut me off.
Go ahead.
All right. So the conversation was not centered around a center from every team. The conversation was centered around one person. Right. And then when we pointed out the fact that one person is a loser, you said, yep, you pointed out that other teams have guys that are similar. But what you didn't point out is that all those teams that you pointed out also have guards that dominate also. Right? Every team that you mentioned, and you can go through them again, but every team on that floor. So what you may be pointing to is teams need balance to be successful. They need a decent big and a decent guard to be successful. But to say that trade Julius Randle and Mitch for Karl Anthony Towns is utterly ridiculous at this point. When Karl Anthony Towns on his team is 7-28. And with Julius Randle on his team, without Mitch, who's been hurt, is 18-17. I mean, I don't know how we can justify trading 2 dudes from a winner for 1 dude from a loser. To me, it's backwards.
So let me clarify some things, right? In the court of Blue and Steers basketball. The leader of this ship said 3 inches, 7 feet gets you 7 and whatever, right? I rebutted and said, no, 7-footers, the two number 1 seeds both have 7-footers. And the number 1 seed in the East, if they had a mediocre center, wouldn't be number 1 in the East. They're number 1 in the East because they have a great big man, right? And a okay guard.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Sustained.
So again, I don't know what he's objecting actually, other than facts, because the big man in the East
It's not a fact. It's not a fact when it's speculation.
Is the big man in the East probably the leading candidate for MVP right now?
Has that big man in the East ever led that team to the number 1 seed in the East during his career?
He's doing it right now. So as we speak, right now, yes.
Right, but they hadn't clinched it.
They have not clinched it. But as of February, March 1st, I can say that big man has the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference and has had the number 1 seed all season long.
Right, but they hadn't. But that he hadn't clinched that number 1 seed since he's been in the NBA, right?
No.
Okay. As a matter of fact, that Joel Embiid, the player that you're talking about, is an all-star, is an all-defensive player, but
perennial
all-star. But he is also a high injury risk, correct?
For sure. Okay.
All right. I just want to be clear, because if we're stating facts, man, I just want to put all the facts on the table and not just some, not the convenient facts, but all of them.
So here's a fact for you. Would you say that Julius Randle's coming of age is partly due because of one Tom Thibodeau?
No, we don't want to. We don't want to speculate. That's speculation.
Is that speculating? Is it speculating that Julius Randle's having the best season of his career because he, as he quotes, got a coach that's going to hold him accountable? Did Julius Randle say that? Because I remember you yourself, Uncle Freezy, bringing up that statement. So let's not understate it now because that case is working against you. Can we say Julius Randle's having the best season of his career because Tom Thibodeau is holding him accountable and putting him in better situations than any time in his career? Is that a fair assumption?
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. You just asked me if it's a fair assumption, and then prior you just asked me if it was a fact. It can't be a fact and an assumption at the same time.
Oh, fine. Is that a fact?
So what are you asking me? Are you asking me to assume, or are you asking me to look at it as a fact? You can say look at it as a fact. Because the thing is I don't want to assume, and I don't want to state it as a fact when the season is not complete. What I will say is this. What I will say is this. You've seen marked improvement in every season during Julius Randle's career, right? You've seen it in every season of Julius Randle's career. You've seen an uptick in production, right? And you also saw that he had flaws in his game. Like in New Orleans, he didn't play defense, right? And that frustrated a lot of people, because he was so offense-centric, right? Last year, he did 19.5 points and 9.7 rebounds a game, right? That's 20 and 10, right? 20 and 10 just does not appear on a radar. It's not a blip on a radar, even on a bad team. Because if you say 20 and 10 on a bad team is empty stats, then we should just kill this Karl Anthony Towns argument right now. Never talk about it again. Because Karl Anthony Towns puts up big numbers on bad teams, right? So the thing with Julius Randle is to say that Julius Randle has only gotten better because of what other people have done is doing a disservice to the work that Julius Randle put in as a player himself. Why don't we just say Julius Randle got better?
Objection, Your Honor. Can I bring in Exhibit a statement from one Julius Randle from the JJ Redick podcast, when JJ Redick asked Julius Randle himself, what would it take for you to put it all together. And I quote, a great coach to hold me accountable on the court. Was that not a statement from Julius Randle a week ago?
What is put it all together? Define what is put it all together.
So now I have to define what put it all together means. So I got to define it.
Right. Because you're using hocus pocus. What is put it all together?
I'm using what the man said out his own mouth. That's not hocus pocus.
Okay. Stephen Fox,
words come out of Julius Randle's mouth.
What is put it all together?
I guess the easy answer is that your coach smiles.
Right.
Whatever make your coaches happy means that you're putting it together.
Right. Because in my opinion, put it all together means produce at a level that brings a championship culture to your organization. Right. For some people, put it all together means hit your free throws and make sure Basketball Reference has you looking pretty. Like you have pretty stats on basketballreference.com. Right. But put it all together could apply to Jimmy Butler. Like Jimmy Butler's numbers look ridiculously bad on Basketball Reference, but everywhere he goes, winning seems to follow him, right? So what are you saying about put it all together? Do you want Karl Anthony Towns numbers, or do you want Jimmy Butler's results?
I think we got to ask Julius Randle to put it all together, because I'm not saying that.
I think that goes back to that leadership comment from a while ago.
That's the thing about it, Freezy. I'm asking a simple question,
Butler's a leader,
and you're taking it all around the corner. I'm asking, did Julius Randle come out his own mouth and say that?
What I'm telling you is what I'm telling you is Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler played for. Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns played for Tom Thibodeau.
Your Honor, can you please? Your Honor, can you please?
And you see a different result. No, I don't have to. No, I ain't got to.
I'm not going to need a sidebar.
Did Julius Randle himself come out and say, I quote, I needed a coach to help me put it all together?
Kev, if you have the answer, why do you need me to make your case? If you can't tell water, you can say it yourself.
You're the one who's saying, what does put it all together mean? You're the one who's saying that it's discrediting.
I know. I didn't say it. I asked it. I asked the question. What does put it all together mean? And it means different things to different people.
Yep.
Well, to that, we can only ask Julius Randle, since he's the one who actually said it.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Greenhouse. I say, hey, Greenhouse, what's good, man? Hey, I got that email from you, Greenhouse. That was dope. That was, we definitely have to get together at some point and do some stuff, man. I appreciate the thing you did for us. Maybe you, I, and Foxy can get together at some point and put some things together.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to L. Marshall for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. L. Marshall, you're so generous, and we just appreciate all your support all the time. L. Marshall said Towns is not a gym rat. He won't fit the makeup. So Sima Singh says Towns preferred the coach that they just fired after they faced us, and not Tibbs. So he'd rather have Saunders over Tibbs. And shout out to Mindspace Invader, our friend from Thailand, who says he'd rather have Monk than Beal. Well, Monk is much less expensive than Beal, and he has much better weed. So that would be an upgrade that way. And if we got Malik Beasley, we'd have the best weed in the league. So it's something to think about. I don't know if anybody ever thought about it that way. Right. But again, thanks, Greenhouse, for the note. And we definitely will get with you. But God, it's wonderful that we talk to so many people. There's so many creative people that are part of our family, the Lawrence Tears family, that it's really eye-opening. So the Knicks have covered the halftime spread in 12 straight games. So I don't look at the game that way, but that's a good stat. I know a whole lot of people. I can't watch Madison Square Garden. I can't watch the pregame show before an opening, opening with all the lines and everything. Chuck for life. I hope all is well, man. Jeremy, great that the Knicks are good finally. Well, we're one game above 500, so I take that as good. You know, some people look at it as maybe mediocre, But compared to our past, I am elated. Daryl Pemberton, as I always say, morning, noon, and night. Daryl Pemberton, good people, great guy, great takes. We appreciate all you do. Andre Bryant, it was Randle's hard work for 9 months that got him better. Yep. And GS, thank you for the. I look like a bloated John Oliver. Thank you for the kind words.
What?
I appreciate the kind words, and you know, I enjoy that bloat. It takes a lot of good food to make me this bloated, so it's a good way to go out of life. But you know what? It's only one life, and I'd rather be a bloated son of a bitch than a skinny one because I just love my food. So, hey, I don't care, man.
And
Treat,
and shout out to people with sense of humor too.
hey,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah, I don't take it bad. I don't take any of this stuff. I'm real secure with who I am.
Amen,
So
brother. Amen.
yeah. So you look in the mirror all these years and see that face. Either you accept it or you're gonna jump off the roof. And I haven't jumped off the roof. So and like Popeye says, I am who I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I love to go swimming with bow-legged women. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. So Brooklyn Belly, Knox, and Cat cut from the same cloth. Oh boy, I don't know about that.
See, this is what kills me. Like, what does that mean? Because
I think it's what we said. It's some people are not overly animated in their play. It doesn't make a
and,
difference if they put up 25 points and 15 rebounds if they're not flexing after a jam, if they're not screaming like woo, they take it like man. So
that's what I don't understand. Like, I don't think I understand. A lot of fans really understand. Like, a person's personality has absolutely nothing to do with the work that they put in or their level of talent because they're a laid back, relaxed person. Like that, why does a person's demeanor mean that they're lazy or they don't have a hard work ethic?
I don't
Like
know, man. Hey,
that's
I've
what
seen I've seen guys like in when they're weighing in for a fight and they step off the scale and one gets in the face and he's going crazy and the other guy's just looking at him and one is flexing and screaming and everything and then the fight comes and the one who was screaming gets their ass whooped by that quiet guy.
I mean, that's how it is. I mean, here's like you look at Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan spent
I
19
love I
years
love
showing
Tim
little to
Duncan.
no emotion.
Yeah,
He just did his job every
class
day.
act.
I mean, he complained a lot. I'll give him that. He complained a lot.
But
But right
intelligent people
so,
do. Intelligent people do.
so with
People said the same thing about Bill Russell.
yeah, and it's like he just goes and just because Carlton Towns looks downtrodden or not a rah rah in your face kind of person does not mean that he's an exceptionally hard worker and doesn't put in the work to get better at his craft. Like case in point, people want to talk about Kevin Knox. When I know for a fact Kevin Knox spent the entire offseason doing nothing but working on his game, and yet people want to question his motor and his work ethic. Like, no, Kevin Knox worked
He did.
hard.
He did.
There's
We've
video
just
evidence
said,
proof.
it
His
has.
coaches and everyone said it. Kevin Knox put in the work to
Yeah.
get better at his game, but us fans just see him on the sidelines with no facial expression, nothing. Like, oh, he has a low motor. It
Yeah.
literally contradicts everything that every single coach and team. Yeah, his
Have said about him. I
friends on the
agree.
team like make fun of him, but no one has ever questioned his. Mike Miller and David Fizdale never questioned Kevin Knox's work ethic. John Calipari never questioned his work ethic. Tom Thibodeau's never even questioned his work ethic. They've actually praised his work ethic.
No, they have.
The
They just
fans,
hope. They just wish it translated all that hard work translated a little more into productivity or a lot more into productivity. But it takes
yeah,
different
nothing to do with
times
his
for
low
different
motor.
people.
Yeah,
It
that
does
low
nothing to
motor.
do with his low motor. I agree. I totally agree. Um, Quattro Cinco Fox is a bowmaster, a bow hunter, a musician who doesn't play video games. I agree. And Freezy censors me. He won't let me talk about my porn and insurance background because those are the bylaws of the show. But other than that, I am a bow hunter and I am a musician. Uh, Julian Blum, I love my Julian Blum. Hope all is well. So, Quattro Cinco's, I want to watch you play Grand Theft Auto or the Mafia video game. I don't play it, and the one time, the truth, and I didn't say this, one of the reasons I don't play video games is everybody's brain is wired differently. There is a subsection of the population who can't play video games because of the way their brain's wired. It just doesn't. Video games don't agree with them. It's not like an epileptic fit. It just doesn't work. And I may be one of those people. My brain's wired, as all my family knows. I'm a kind of crazy dude, and my brain does not agree with video games. Seriously, I don't know if you ever met anyone like that, Kev. I don't know if it's the refresh or the video or whatever. It doesn't agree with me. Video games. So.
Well, I'm not lying to you, Foxy. I haven't played a video game in years. Like, I was thinking about when they had a new PlayStation come out, like last year or something, or because I should get that. And then I thought to myself, I was like, I'm not going to play it. That's been wasted like hundreds of dollars for nothing.
Yeah. So that's why I said video games have never agreed with me. Porn has never bothered me though. So that's
most men hasn't.
So the porn just makes my eyesight go like that. Oh my god. Prince Pote, how are you, man? So Yo Elvis says, so Kev, when Town was playing with Jimmy and Rose, how did you think? Did that go? So what? How did that go? So what makes you think that coming here is going to work? Randle's putting those same numbers, is putting in, and it's working. So if it didn't, I'll try to just. So basically, saying if Towns, if Rose, Butler, and Cat didn't work in Minnesota, bringing Cat to New York with Rose, and we'll throw in Randle, what makes you think it'll work here?
Now, when you say work, what exactly do you mean by work? Because they made the playoffs in Minnesota.
I know. I'm just reading the just interact with her.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. The question is like, well, no, it did work. They made the playoffs in the Western Conference. So I think they had 49 wins. I'm not mistaken that year when they had all three of them together.
So
I don't understand. And I think you missed a super chat from L Marshall. I don't want to read it for a $2 super chat.
The one that says Town's not a gym rat.
No, we said if you trade Randle, I bet the coaches and team will quit. Thanks for the $2 super chat, Em. I don't wanted to.
Yeah, L Marshall's awesome. Thank you. Keep me honest. It's so hard. It goes so close. Yeah, thank you so much for catching that. You know what, L Marshall? I agree with you, man. I think there would be everyone would be, what the hell are you doing? And I agree. So
I look at it as, like I said, this is my thing. I look at it as a lateral move because I don't look at it as much as we are all down on Obi, and tonight's game did not do anything. Did anything to help Obi Toppin with no fans in the stand? It did not help Obi Toppin's street rep with Tibbetts calling him out like that. What I do know is the president of basketball operations went out of his way to get the player that he wanted, and I feel like he was going to move up and give up assets to give Obi Toppin, right? I believe wholeheartedly, from everything I read this offseason, that they were willing to trade Julius Randle last offseason before Julius Randle became the player he is this season. That I know to be, I'll say, a factor from everything I read. So I'm pretty sure they were expecting Julius Randle maybe to play the same and trade him at the deadline or something. I'm assuming that's happened, but then something happened. Julius Randle started playing like an all-star. So they're like, well, we're going to keep him this season and let Obi learn, right? Follow me, Fox. I'm going somewhere. So you go through this season, we fall somewhere, let's say 6. We play Milwaukee. We lose Milwaukee. I want to say we're going to beat Milwaukee, but I'm keeping it real. you go into the offseason and you say, well, we have Julius, and that's great. He's playing great. His trade value is never highest. Minnesota's floundering during whatever. We have like 100 draft picks and whatever to get an elite skill player. And not only get an elite skill player who's going to give you the same offensive production that you're giving up, right? But most importantly, you're opening up that roster slot for the guy that you just drafted, that you wanted to play from the jump, but couldn't because you had Julius Randle and couldn't trade him the year before. Had Leon Rose actually traded Julius Randle last year, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Who knows? I mean, maybe he had his lumps. Maybe he'd average more points. Maybe whatever. We don't know. But Leon Rose probably said, well, Obi got a year on his belt. He kind of picked up the game. He learned under Julius. We can move on from Julius. Get a player of substantial talent who's going to give you the same amount of offense, plus open up the spot for the guy that I drafted, the guy that I wanted all along. That's why I want Karl-Anthony Towns. Gotcha. It's not just for Karl-Anthony Towns. It's also for Obi Toppin to step up in year 2, where he should make a market improvement now that he has a year under his belt, knows the game. His coach can come back, okay, this is what you're doing. Go put on 10, 15 pounds, work on this, work on that, and then come back next year. So year 2, you should be better. So next season, can he average 14, 15 points, 7, 8 rebounds in year 2 as a starter? Yeah. I'm not asking Obi Toppin to be Julius Randle overnight. I want Obi Toppin to be Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
The offensive output that I'm getting from Julius Randle, I'm going to get from Karl-Anthony Towns. I want you to have a better offensive production than Mitchell Robinson. I have 2 guys who can stretch the floor and open everything up. I still have my go-to all-star level player in Karl-Anthony Towns to still build everything around under a coach who came out today and said, I have no issues with coaching Karl-Anthony Towns again.
Yeah. Hey, a super chat from Yo Elvis and Tenza again. Thank you. We appreciate your generosity. He said, what happens when Butler left and they missed the playoffs? How about we add a number 1 and leave everything the way it is? So thank you. L. Marshall said Randle is the heart of the team right now. And L. Marshall, I could not agree with you more. Andre Bryan said Clint Capella had Cat on the lockdown in the playoffs. So Capella shut him down in the playoffs. John B. Said Obi Toppin is developing, and he doesn't have the luxury of consistent minutes every game, unfortunately. We have to wait to see him get unlocked. Let's see. SB Talk Sports. Hope all is well. Hey, Fox, he asked Kevin Wright if he's scared. Oh, come on, man. I ain't talking about
What did you say? I can't read it.
He asked Kevin if he's scared to debate me. SB the Legend Killer. So,
Did you catch last night's show?
I did. I watched it today, this afternoon. I had some time, and I always like catching up on it. And but that's why I said I didn't want to read it, because one of my things as a New York boy, I hate people who lose that say, everybody knows I won. Everybody knows I won. But no, everybody knows you lost, SB Talk Sports. Everybody knows you lost. And I know you lost from your car, so that was really cool.
I'm talking about my performance against Tony Crow. I thought it was one of my better performances, actually.
Unfortunately, there's somebody right here, Yo Elvis and Tenza, who gave us a super chat tonight, who cheated yesterday. So he voted several times, and I'm calling you out, Yo Elvis, because it wasn't cool. You should have went to sudden death. Actually, the second round, he won the second round, Kev. If you took out this guy, Yo Elvis's 3 votes, I think the second round was real close. If you took out you technically you should have had a third round with Tony Crow. So just keeping it real. That's why some of the people, it's like when I looked at it, obviously I enjoy watching my Freezy and everything and watching you, but it's like, come on, man, we've asked you so many times, just vote one time, just say a name, don't write all this stuff. So when I watch reviews, I keep the live chat on. And so I'm looking at the live chat. I'm like, oh, person just voted a second. That person just voted 3 times, and so many people did it a few times. Man, come on. In the future, when my boy Freezy puts in the effort to put on a show, and you have people like Kev and all that, let's just keep it fair, chat, please. So
I can't sit here and because I didn't know because I don't watch the when they do the vote right. So I'm the kind of person where I don't watch it. Like I don't want to know until like they announce it, right? Because I'm
I
just
don't blame
nervous.
you. I don't blame you, man. It's a hard thing. You're doing it, and it's all fun and games, but nobody likes to lose. And Yo Elvis Intenza has another super chat. He said, "My bad, Kev. This one's on me." So, yeah, we don't ask much. Brad Johnson, yo. Thank you so much, Brad Johnson. Hey, Brad, let us know. Brad is our friend from Australia. He has been in the hospital. I believe it's COVID related. He's also a legend on the Melbourne Tigers basketball. So he's a great supporter of us and no different than Mindspace Invader from Thailand, Brad Johnson from Australia. We have so many friends from all over the world. Brad, thank you so much for the super chat. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. So, uh, SB Talk Sports, I could have won, but the votes didn't go my way. Yeah, the Queen said I could have been king if I only had balls. So let's see. Lineups, coaches get fired. Let's see. I just love talking our chat, man. Family, let us know what you want to talk about tonight. Topics. Michael Halliburton, are you related to Tyrese? Give up Knox and a first round pick for Cat. I would do that in all day long, but that would never, 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 never happen. So, Sports Vibe TV, Mike Keese, the plot thickens, lots of laughs. He's good people again, please. Stephanie E. Stephanie, one of my favorite people on in all the rooms now. Stephanie is a regular in the Godfather Sims MBK broadcast, and every take that Stephanie does is just deep, just knows her hoops. Do you know? Have you heard Stephanie?
From who? I'm sorry.
Stephanie on Sims broadcast. Stephanie's on
Oh yes.
she's
Well, I'm sorry.
fantastic. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Stephanie. So Stephanie says we're trying to build around Randle, add players around them. If we trade him for Cat, we are a worse team. Hey Stephanie, whenever you want, like I said to you on, I think you were on the morning broadcast. Whenever you want to come on, either in morning or night, just let us know. I think you took my email address. We really, really have great respect for your takes, man, or ma'am.
I'm reading the chat, and now everyone's questioning my win from last night.
I'm not questioning the win. I was just questioning. You're a champ, man, and you know you're the champ, and so there's nobody that could take that away from you. It's just some other people, like I said. Come on, man. It's so easy just to be honest, and it's so easy to just vote once, and it's so easy to just say the name once. It's like we don't have time when Freezy does this stuff. God bless him to read dissertations. Well, and then read through it to find out who are you voting for. Is it Tony or Kev? We just want Tony or Kev. That's all we want, and then we read just between the vote and stop. So, but it gets refined. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident. I mean, like I said, people want to go back and say all this stuff is fine, but I was very gracious to Tony Ferrer. I thought it was a good debate. Like I said, I thought it was one of my better debates so far, actually. But Like I said, I didn't count the votes. It was like I said, I don't count it until like they tell me.
No, I hear you.
Because I get it's nerve wracking. Like it really is.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Boost Mobile, one of our favorites. Yo, Fox, the village got snuffed, and he talked about Kevin Spacey saying he was a sore loser.
Huh?
I'm just reading it. I'm not translating it. I'll
I
leave
don't know
that
what
to
that
I'll
means.
leave that to you. But
I'm reading
uh L Marshall, salute to Kevin W. Uh Stephanie, good. Stephanie, you're loved here, and greatly respected, man. So I love when you listen to some people you just know, like we said, Randle, you could put him in for 25 points and 11 rebounds every game. Every take that you listen to Stephanie, sometimes you listen to some people, they have good takes, and others you're like, Stephanie's
So I
consistently
think
great.
so last night, and so here's my thing, Foxy. Like I am so very privileged and honored that I am been accepted and ingratiated into the Blowing Tears Knicks and Night or the Blowing Tears family in general, right?
I feel the same way.
And
It is an honor, and thank you, Freezy, for giving us this platform, and thank you, family, for embracing us. At least 98%. Some of you hate us, but 98% of you love us, and we'll take the 98%.
yeah, so I am, and it's an amazing thing when um I get the credit and recognition that people enjoy my takes or dislike them and want to debate them or whatever they want to do with it. You know, I'm going to get a reaction either way. And so I'm very privileged, and I would like to thank everyone who takes time out of their day and stays up and watches Knicks at night, right? But I don't know how I took this, and I guess I'll put it out there. Like, so I've made it a point of not jumping from show to show to show to show, right? Like, you'll rarely ever see me on another show, right? Because I feel like my takes I wanted to be exclusively for Knicks at night.
Gotcha.
And like if I go on Legion of Knicks podcast or Man show and I say the same thing I'm going to say later on tonight, it gets watered down. But so I have great respect for the ultimate respect for like Sim and his show. Like ultimate
he's the
respect.
Godfather, yeah.
And this isn't me saying anything negative. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all, right?
No, just meaning a lot of us, like Freezy, myself, and I know, but for years I was in the chat. So many of the people here that have relationships, the Gregory Castillos and all these, I've been talking to these people for years, and then, got on the show a couple of years later, and it all happened because of Sim.
Yeah, but someone, was saying that how I guess JD, and I have great respect for JD, is like, I guess a new panelist on Nothing But Knicks. And someone made a comment the other day that I probably wouldn't make it on that show. And I said for a while, literally, it
What was the comment?
that I guess because he's on a show and I couldn't make it on Sim's show, that I wasn't good. Something I wasn't good enough to be on Sim's show or something.
Who said that?
I forget who it was. It really,
Oh.
it's not important who said it.
Because JD's good people, man.
And no, this isn't about JD. I guess.
Okay, because I'm a
JD
big fan of JD. Yeah.
No, they were saying that JD is like a new panelist on Sim's show, and that I wouldn't make it on Sim's show, is what they were saying. I couldn't cut it.
Oh,
and
I got you.
I don't know why I took that. I shouldn't have taken it personally.
You can't take it personally.
I thought to myself, I was like, well, I've never wanted to be on. I would love the honor to, but I never thought about being on Sim's show. Like, it never dawned on me to do it.
But you don't have to, because Sim has come on here. We've talked to Sim on our show, and
it's just weird that somebody would. I don't know why they would even come out and say that. Like, I don't know why it affected me.
That's why. No, I know. Hey, there's so many people that make comments, and I was on Guillermo's show a week ago, and I'm like you. I like to try to keep it fresh, but there's also I love the draft. I love college basketball, and there's certain elements that we don't discuss on this show. So I keep my Knicks stuff fresh because I'm on other shows talking about college kids. That's not really a focus of our show a lot. But there was a comment from somebody that they said, "Oh my God, the person's cursing," and sometimes people say things, and for the life of you, you're like, "What did I say to get somebody upset to that level?" And but then a half a second later, I forget about it. I got Teflon on in my DNA. I sleep with a smile on my face. I don't think about it a second later. Brother BK Contreras says he's definitely our godfather, including our Knicks family, because we're family. It's definitely called the Lawrence Tears at Stephen Fox and Kevin Wright. So
Is that what now?
The Lawrence Tears, and it has just our names after it. So we are family, and I agree with that, and I love our family. Stephanie said she knows Sim, and all takes are respected. So people in the chat may be saying something, but Sim and all of your family in the chat, they respect each other. Hey, Delano, it was great that I was on the College Hoops live stream. Thank you. It's one of my passions, and I write a lot of notes. I watch a lot of games. I just watched another game, rewatched a game with Florida against Kentucky. And kudos to Guillermo. I watched the kid, and he told me to rewatch some of his games. Trey Mann, combo guard on Florida. Very, very smooth. Not a point guard. I wish he had a little more point guard skills in him, but he's smooth. He's not on anybody's draft boards, first or second round yet. But also, God, please, I hope we don't take B.J. Boston. He can't shoot. I said after watching him shoot last night that he should change his name to R.J. Boston. And Isaiah Jackson, I think, is going to be another Mitch. Great skills, but the first few years it'll be tough for him to play 2 quarters without fouling out. So, but the good thing is, the scary thing is, folks, it's officially March. So thank God, because we've been slaughtered with snow. I'm just wishing that spring comes quick enough. I still have so much snow in my backyard in the front of my house, and my neighbors across the street, you don't even know it snowed. So it's crazy. So Delano Steele, what's your thoughts on Davion Mitchell? It's weird because watching Baylor, not really high. I just think he's just okay, Delano. And the same thing goes for their Jared Butler, their point guard. He's 6'5" with a 6'5" wingspan, and he can shoot and everything. But the problem, and this is why I brought it up, if we keep on this trajectory, everyone, we're a game above 500, 18-17. If we keep this, the players that'll be available from 10 onward, it's like just mediocre at best. We're trying to up-level this. So I have no problem if we're having a good year, trade these first-round draft choices, because if we keep these draft choices, and nobody loves the draft more than me, but I'm telling you, my kid is a kid out of Connecticut, James Bouknight. And I think he's spectacular. He's a 3-level scorer. He's a guard. He'd be great on defense, explosive athletic ability. But I don't know if we'd get him. I think there's only a top 3 in this draft. It's not a top 5. It's a top 3 in my book. Green and Kuminga is going to take 3 to 4 years for them to be productive. Great athletic talent, but all these mixtapes of them jamming. It's not a dunk fest in the NBA. You got to play other parts of the game. Greenhouse, you didn't laugh your ass off. Stop lying. I can see your face. I have no idea what that means. So,
I think he's talking about me.
So I'm trying to keep always interacting with our family and stuff. But sometimes
that's pretty much what I'm doing. I think he's saying that to me.
Greenhouse, who are you talking to, man?
He's talking to me.
C-Mac says, I don't know about Kuminga. I think Kuminga could be good, but C-Mac and the rest of them, it's about, I think Cade, spectacular player, Jalen Suggs, and my favorite is Evan Mobley. You know, if I had the number one pick, as crazy as it sounds, I'd take Evan Mobley, not Cade. I think he has the greatest. You know, he's 7 feet 7'5" wingspan with a 40-inch vertical. He could hit jumpers. He shoots with either hand. Beautiful touch. Like I said, 5 blocks the other game. So to me, he's the one. But Cade, 40 points yesterday, hit 8 free throws in the overtime to beat a number 7 ranked team. So Delano Steele, the man of steel, says, I know James Bouknight out of UConn is your guy, and I like his skill set as well. Thank you for bringing it up because I watch a lot of Big East basketball. Yeah, and Delano, I'll repeat it that my nephew went to Providence, and there's a player on Providence, a guard, David Duke, that a lot of people are looking at. I think
Why would anybody name their child in this age that name? I don't understand. Do they know what that name? Who that
I'm
is?
not even go there. I don't want to go there. I know.
Oh, goodness, I couldn't be like a 19-year-old and that's my name.
I know. It's absolutely. But I said to him, "Did you see a Bouknight play yet?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Watch him." And he sends me a text and says, "Oh my God." It was like watching a player on a whole nother level. So yeah, Bouknight is special, but if we don't trade for an established player, I have no problem if we have a good season to trade our picks to move up to get a kid like Bouknight. I think he's that special. So a question about Boost Mobile. What about Garza, the center from Iowa? Too slow for the NBA. Just too slow. You know, he may have a good shot and may play well on offense, but he will get destroyed on the defensive end in the pros. At least what I think. But,
I'm not gonna lie to you, Stephen Fox. I have not watched one game of
I
college
know
basketball.
you're looking at the NFL draft. You're not looking at.
I am. I'm all in on.
I was studying that off the record. I was studying that today too. The NFL draft.
It sucks that we're not having the combine this year. And so I get a lot of. I'm one who like I watch the combine and I take notes and I'm looking at measurements of players and everything and I'm and the 40-yard times and everything. It's like we're not having to wait for each school. This is what's weird, right? Because there's like 400, and granted, you're not going to go get every kid, right? But the thing about it is you can have 300 kids come to the combine and have them in their groups and classes or groups and position classes and see them all in the drills that you want to see because this kid went to like, I can't even think of a small school right now. And that's how you find those like hidden gems. Because are you really about to go out and stretch your scouting department to go to 400 different schools
for their pro days?
For their pro days, I mean that's almost impossible to do because how many teams,
and especially the second tier, you know, everybody will
exactly.
Go. Yeah, that they're toast.
And it's like, so how many? And a lot of schools will have their pro days on the same day, so you can't play at 2 places at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a general manager, right, and I want to see a kid that I really like going to LSU. The LSU's having their same pro day as UCLA. I can't be in Baton Rouge and Los Angeles at the same time. You know, and if I get on a red eye, I'm gonna be too tired to scout UCLA's player because I just traveled from Baton Rouge to go here. And I just think that's just this. See, last year, I guess if there's one thing about COVID, is the draft happened before COVID shut everything down. I mean, the combine happened before COVID shut everything down. So you still had the combine. So teams still had all the information, the medicals, the records, the exams, everything, because they still did the combine. But this year is going to be more of a crapshoot, especially when you get into rounds 4, 5, and 6.
Which are the important rounds. That comprises your team usually.
Yeah.
Special teams, everything.
So that's what the one thing that I'm kind of really really weary about because the Jets. I'm a Jets fans. We have a lot of picks, and we have a lot of picks in the later rounds.
Yeah, but 2 first-round picks that are real important, and that
It
second
is two
round.
first rounds,
Yeah,
and we have two in the third also.
yeah.
So there's a chance we can walk out of this draft with 5 potential starters.
And if we do take a quarterback, that's probably going to mean another draft choice for Darnold or two.
I'm kind of suspect on them trading Sam Darnold. The only reason why I'm suspect is the amount of teams that need another quarterback have dwindled, right?
Yeah.
Because Indianapolis got Wentz,
Went,
and then
went, yeah.
Detroit
Wentz,
and LA switched quarterbacks.
which
So
was the worst
Houston,
trade in history.
that's a unique trade. I'm kind of curious
I
to see
was like, well,
why.
wait, let me go over that again. They could not have given that a haul for a guy that age. And Goff, meeting the delta between Goff and Stafford, I'm like, there's just no way. Let me look at it again. They did give that up. Are they nuts?
Well, I guess you look at it as you see what Brady's doing at 43, and you see what
Yeah,
Rodgers doing at
but
38.
Brady made the playoffs for 100 years. And Stafford didn't.
Well, I guess the thinking is it's not the age because you're going to have Matt Stafford play at a high level if you protect him for
Seconds.
maybe 6 years, maybe
Oh,
a good five, right? So that Matt Stafford has a higher talent level than Jared Goff does. Like talent alone, like Matt Stafford probably has a top
one of the best
three
arms.
arm
Yeah,
in the NFL today.
just yeah. When he came out, that rifle was like unbelievable.
And so I guess you're thinking to yourself, like, if we can get that kind of talent in our system, wow. Because even Matt Stafford's never been bad. Like, he's not a bad quarterback at
Oh,
all.
not at all. Not at all.
So maybe think if we get him in our system, we might be able to do more than we could. We have a higher ceiling than we did with Jared Goff. And at the end of the day, so the only thing is this Deshaun Watson thing.
I know that's the big one.
Houston.
And he just met with there and said, "I don't want to play here. I'm telling you, I don't
Well,
want to play here."
This is the thing about it. This is what kills me, right? And we said Deshaun Watson has the leverage. But it's like, does he? Because there's no reason
you got a contract. Are you going to be walking away from that money and sitting out a year and not making money like that?
Unless you're just going to sit out and not play, fine, don't play. Because you can't go anywhere else for, 2-3 years? So why are we trading you? There's no reason for us to trade you. There's no reason for Houston to trade Deshaun Watson. Houston has the leverage because when push, he can hold out training camp and mini camp and whatever. I guarantee if Houston does not trade Deshaun Watson, game 1 of the NFL season, Deshaun Watson will be lining up under center for the Houston Texans.
Especially when his mortgage payment's coming in.
Yes, because there's no way he's going to sit out a
and
season.
Lose that money.
Exactly. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's just such major money to walk away from.
And if Houston, here's my thing, and I like Deshaun Watson. I do. But giving up Deshaun Watson is not going to make the Jets a better team. And I say that because there's still nobody protecting him. He still has nobody to throw the ball to. So Deshaun Watson alone isn't going to make this team better. But if you have Sam Darnold, who's on his rookie team, and you can fill out the holes.
Well, if they use that mentality, they can make a haul, trade that number 2 pick, get all these other picks, and not trade out, but get the lineman from Oregon.
If you trade down to, let's say, 4 to Atlanta, right?
You can get that lineman and then get a haul of other picks, like you said, because we need not only that, we need the mocks right now have us taking a wide receiver with the Seattle pick. So we'll see whoever falls. I think we need best player available, but I think that we could very quickly give Sam an offensive line with that with the first pick we have, wherever, if we trade it or keep it, but with that first pick, but if we trade it, we can get a couple of linemen.
That's how I look at it. Like if we trade down to 4, and let's say we get Atlanta's 1 this year, they're 1 next year, and like they're 2 this year.
Wow.
So that's 2 seconds. So that's what? 2 we said 2 first rounds, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds this year. We'll go with 2 first, 2 second, and 2 third next year. I would do that in a heartbeat because there's a kid out of Ohio State. His name is Wyatt Davis. And people who don't know this, but Ohio State on the low has been an offensive lineman machine. Like they will churn out some of the better offensive linemen in the NFL. If you go back and look how
Orlando Pace, didn't Orlando Pace go to Ohio State?
I got to look that up. I don't know. But if you look at some of the best linemen in today's game came from Ohio State.
Yeah, just stay away from the quarterbacks from Ohio State, but absolutely take the linemen.
Ohio State has offensive linemen. They have cornerbacks. They have defensive linemen. Quarterbacks, no, not quarterback, but everything else. Shop at Ohio State. Everything but the engine, you can shop at Ohio State.
And they've had some really good corners too.
Yeah, but so that's my thing. Like I would get Sewell, and I get Wyatt Davis in the first, and then you still have 2 offensive linemen. That way, you only have to spend for like Joe Thuney, because I think Joe Thuney would. I would throw the bag at Joe Thuney.
Yeah, he's been a great guard for a while, man.
And that's pretty much your offensive line right there.
Yeah. Hey, we got the kid Becton right now. And I don't know, depending on who we get, whether we take Becton, throw him to the right, or keep him at the left.
Because Sewell probably is going to be a better left tackle than Becton.
That's why I said
that's a lot.
But if you do that, you keep Sewell at the left, you move Becton to the right, and maybe you kick Fant into the guard position from the right tackle.
I'm thinking they're going to wait. Now, George Fant didn't play bad this season.
He didn't play bad.
I would still, if I feel that I'm getting Sewell, I would just go ahead and cut George Fant and save that like $7 million. Because if I'm drafting Sewell and I'm drafting Wyatt Davis, because I can have a lineup of Sewell, Thuney, McGovern, Davis, and Becton.
Wow.
And so you have 3 offensive
But don't you think we need an upgrade at that center?
Well, then, because there's only one center that you can upgrade with this offseason, and that's Corey Linsley, right? The McGovern, here's the thing, McGovern wasn't bad.
I know, but we need a Kevin Mawai type of center.
The thing about
my God, really, man? We talking about the Jets?
We are.
I have this. Like, I just want to vomit.
I'm sorry, Freezy. When you're not around, the mice will play.
No, man. I'm joking. I'm not talking about the I'm not talking about the fluidity of the conversation. I'm just talking about this topic. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yeah. There's got to be a version of Blarn's Tears with green in it, a greenish tears, because we have as many tears as a Jets fan as we have as Knicks and Mets fans.
Right? Maybe it's the white portion of the Jets color scheme. Maybe it's the white portion, right? But the Jets. I heard Hoodie Kev say something just now, and it was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard a football fan say in my life.
Which is?
If Deshaun Watson is not going to help the Jets team get better. Are you serious?
Just he said Deshaun's not going to make the Jets better, but if Deshaun's running for his life because there's no offensive line giving him time to execute, how is he going to make it better if there's nobody protecting him and nobody to catch the ball?
Right. No, but in the very next paragraph, y'all started mentioning about the talent that y'all have on the offensive line. If shuffled around and put in different places.
No,
just one.
Yeah, right now the Jets only have 2 off technically.
I think that kid Mekhi Becton is going to wind up playing left guard for y'all.
Oh,
left guard.
He's way too big of a guard.
But you don't look at size. You look at his strength and athletic ability. Is he strong?
He's a tackle.
You know what, Kev? What we need at right tackle? we need Freezy because he's the same prototype size as Mecton.
Yeah,
Mikael
yeah,
Becton 6'6".
yeah.
He has those long arms. We can't have short arms. You have to have 30.
Only if he's 331. If he's 330 and a half, then no, we can't.
Yeah, but that extra half, it's pure muscle on you.
It's pure muscle, man.
Yeah.
It's pure. It's toenails. That's the secret.
You ain't like that Fox. He's all bloated. Hey, I got a thing from Brooklyn Belly saying Kispert, Moody, Cooper will be around for the Knicks. Kispert probably won't be, and Kispert is, I think, a little overrated. I think the talent in the NBA will.
Yeah.
He's just an ordinary athlete at most. He's a great shooter, but it's scary when you go to the NBA
Is he
level.
Joe Harris? Is he Joe Harris?
He can be. I think it takes you a couple of years, but he just is just average athletically, and the NBA will just bring you down, man. They're just so talented and so fast and strong. Moses Moody will be gone, and Sharif Cooper, even if he is around, I don't select 6 foot, 175-pound guards. I'm just not a guy. I like big guards on my team, and Sharif Cooper he has no size and he can't shoot, but other than that, I love him. So Chris Chang, how are you? Salute to you. Delano says he likes Moody too. The problem with Moses Moody is probably the best shooter in the league in the college, but he's very similar to the kid from Vanderbilt last year,
Aaron Neesmith.
Neesmith, that he's strictly catch and shoot. He can't put the ball on the thing. He can't make his own shot, and that's why I said Book Night. What this team, our Knicks need is a 3-level scorer, and Moody's is not. Moody has great length though. He's only 18. He'll be good on D, but he looked like shit yesterday for Arkansas. He didn't look good at all, man. Cade looked like a monster yesterday. Delano Steele, you all need a hug and a Giants varsity jacket. So, hey, I was a big Giants fan when Parcells was there, and I loved my Parcells, and he crossed over. So, Cooper's not a top 20 pick in my opinion. Stop it, videos. I agree with you, and thank you, Nesmith. He's playing a little more for the Celtics now, but if you can't put the ball on the floor, it's just limiting for us. Catch and shoot players are great, but as long as you have some other people on it. Sports Vibe TV got made a mod. His name's, congratulations. Freezy
I just got me a mod tonight. And I was like, wow, why is my name in blue? I was like, wait a minute, I'm a mod now? I was like, wait a minute.
Hey, as they say in my neighborhood, Mazel Tov. Congratulations. So Keith, congratulations on your stripes. The same thing with you, Hoodie. Now you're officially, at that level. So, Kev, if you keep Darnold, Salah and Douglas are tied to Sam. They aren't taking that risk. You stick with Sam. You have to be competitive.
I'm going to say this one last thing about the Jets, right?
Thanks, Keith.
Hey, Sam Darnold's trash, man.
Sam Darnold is.
I've never been a Sam Darnold level personally, and I followed him from USC. I've always thought he's a turnover machine. I always thought he's high in his interceptions. I always thought that he still has technique issues where when he gets those happy feet and gets out of the pocket, he'll throw the ball across his body, and you're like, oh no, they'll pick that off in a second. So
and then he won't check down in a situation where he has the receiver y'all got from the Redskins. What's the guy name?
Jamison Crowder.
Yeah,
the slot receiver.
Yeah, man, you don't have to throw the ball 25 yards every time, man. You could throw a 4-yard pass, man.
But to his defense though, Chris Herndon really had a terrible year. I thought everybody thought potential wise, I guess he's our version of Ingram on the Giants with drops and stuff like that. But
can we please do what it takes? I would trade Herndon and a fourth.
I know who you're going to say.
for Zach Ertz.
That's my guy.
Right
I was about
now.
to say. I knew you were gonna. Hey,
Like,
yeah.
if you get Zach Ertz, because think about this. This is why I like Sam, because we brought over I keep forgetting his name, the brother of the Green Bay's head coach, Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur, who's going to run Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is basically his father's offense, the Mike Shanahan West Coast offense, which is perfectly suited for I can't think of Sam Darnold. Think about this. Who did Mike Shanahan design? Who did Mike Shanahan design that offense for?
I love my Freezy. I love my Freezy.
Perfect fits. Yeah, perfect fits don't mean anything. You know what was a perfect fit? You remember what was a perfect? Colin Kaepernick and Chip Kelly. That was a perfect fit, man. Chip Kelly just needed a quarterback. That you know what, man? I mean, we say perfect fit all the time. You know, the offense is not just one player. You need chemistry on offense in order to click. Like for instance, I'll give you an example, Hoodie Cap. So the Washington Redskins back in the day had this offense, right? With Joe Theismann, Mark Rippon, Doug Williams. They progressed from quarterback to quarterback, right? Because the Redskins had at least 2 good running backs, 3 great receivers, and a tight end named was it Clint Didia? Was that his name?
Clint Didia.
Yeah. And so what happened is no matter who you had at quarterback,
and they also had the Hogs, the block,
right?
The Schlerifs.
Yeah, the Hog Mollies. Yeah. So it's not about Sam Darnold. That's why the Jets always are a grease fire. The Jets have been a grease fire since God created grease fires, right? Since God created grease fires, the Jets were like, hey, we'll be that. You know what I'm saying? And the reason being is because they had one great quarterback in their history, and then they think you're
Chad Pennington.
Yep, Chad Pennington. Yeah, exactly. And they think you're supposed to build a team around, say, a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to build your team. Your team has to be 11 guys, man. 11 dudes working together for every inch on the football field. Whether it's offense trying to gain an inch or the defense trying not to lose an inch. You know what I'm saying? But the Jets, they always feel like they need to do some splashy thing. Man, for Sam Darnold, it's trash. Move on. Go build your offensive line so you can have a running game for once, right? I mean, the last time the Jets had a running game, they had Sean Green, Chris Ivory. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. And those wasn't even first round picks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if the Jets want to build,
Chris Ivory was like in the original Marshawn. He was a beast.
Yeah. If the Jets, listen, if the Jets want to win 6 games this year, the Jets need to legit repair their offensive line, right? And then and stop trying to be ahead of the innovation curve, and just do what works first. When you do what works first, when you get the basics down pat, like run the football in the A gap. Can you run the football in the A gap for 2 or 3 yards, man? Try that first, right? And then from there you build outwards, and then you add your receivers and such. And then stop trying to be New England. You're not New England, man. You're like, oh, the New England was won the division. Oh, Tom Brady's gone. It's our time. No, man. If you had to wait until Tom Brady left for it to be your time, that means you've been building the whole time of Tom Brady's career the wrong way. Tom Brady has been in Tom Brady was in with the Patriots for like 18 years, 18 seasons. I mean, come on, Jets. Build it the right way, man. I mean, y'all legit signed Le'Veon Bell, right, to all that money, and then cut him and ate all that money. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. Why? I mean, I was mad that y'all didn't try to keep Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick was at least moving the ball for y'all, and y'all were mad because he was throwing interceptions, but not mad at the fact that young wide receivers could not run good routes. Robbie Anderson.
And we wouldn't even have to have this conversation if we picked Josh Allen and Ed Oliver instead of Sam and Quinnen Williams.
Right.
So this is why. Let me give you. I can't sit here and say the Jets haven't made mistakes, right? Because they have. A lot of teams make mistakes.
Because you just said a little while ago, about 40 minutes ago, you said the Jets had a whole bunch of draft picks, right? But so did the general manager before last. He had 11 draft picks in one draft, and wound up 8 guys wind up or not even on the team. That was like 4 years ago, right? And
This is a different.
three of those guys didn't even make the roster. So
This is a
it don't even.
different regime and different general manager than the years past, and I can only
Right.
go off what Joe Douglas has done. Last year, Joe Douglas had a pretty good class. Like his draft class last year was about average. I mean, Becton has proved that he's a legit.
He'll be
could
an
be
all-star.
franchise.
He'll be all pro.
Yeah,
Mims,
that's 1 year.
Mims showed that he can be a good
If he
receiver,
stays healthy.
and Man is going to be eventually the best punter in the game. I mean, how many times you draft a punter and expect him to be
phenomenal,
the best punter in the game? Ashton Davis to me is a backup. He's not a starting safety. Zaninga and I can't think of the other kid's name. Zaninga and the other lineman they got is I can't think of his name, but they're backups. I mean, that's what you get when you have 5th and 6th round picks. I mean, you pick people for death at that point in time. But this is why I stick with Sam. And I'm not saying you build necessarily. I mean, here's the thing: you build around a quarterback. Every team is going to do that. You have a quarterback, you build around a quarterback. Or you build a team up when you have a young quarterback. The thing about the Jets is we don't need to go out and get an expensive quarterback right now. We need to fill in the holes. Even though this is Sam's last year, but if you fill in the holes, like this is why I said you get 2 offensive linemen. Because here's the thing: on a good team, the most expensive unit on that team is.
I don't even know why. I don't even know why we're doing this. Hey man, y'all need to see if you can get Trevor Lawrence. This kid Sam Darnold is. You already saw
not
what you
going
had.
to happen at all. So I guess we can hang up the phone on that because that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Kev,
you see what stupid videos said though? Very accurate. You see what stupid videos said? Are your cornerbacks any good? We need quarterbacks in the worst way on this team.
Cornerbacks?
CBs.
Oh yes, we do. But so here's the thing. So this is the thing. This is the interesting thing about this year. This is why I love sports, Foxy. And more than I love the on the court sports, I love the process of putting together a team. Like I love the cap analogy, the roster building. This NFL season is going to be an interesting season because you're going to have a lot of players that are going to get cut this season.
So with your GM hat on, what do you do with Marcus May?
If I'm not mistaken, I already read a report that they're going to franchise Marcus May if they can't come up with a long-term thing. The franchise tag for a safety is about $11 million a year, which is about what Marcus May should be getting anyway. Marcus May is a very, very good player. Like he's a very good player and integral to this team.
A different type of safety, obviously, than Jamal Adams was. He wasn't in the box like that, but I wish he just
I bring him back, right? So, and I now look at our coaching staff. So this is me building the Jets, and I see it, right? Because the Jets already have $67 million under the cap. So you cut Henry Anderson, that's inevitable. You cut Alex Lewis, you cut Greg Van Roten, you cut George Fant. There's some other cuts, but those are the main ones you cut, and that's an extra $20 million.
Do we keep C.J. Mosley?
You can't cut C.J. Mosley, unfortunately.
Oh, damn.
Too big of a cat hit. But here's the thing: I want C.J. Mosley back because I know he's gonna be fresh. If one thing I know about C.J. Mosley is
he's gonna be fresh. He hasn't played it in 2 years.
He's played literally 2 quarters or 2 halves in 2 years. But we can't cut him because I think it's like $21 million dead cap hit. So he's pretty much a lot to come back. But the Jets are moving to a 4-3 base defense. So I franchise Marcus May. I bring back Neville Hewitt to play one of the outside linebacker spots. Because here, remember Lance Briggs?
Yeah.
Old Chicago Bears. Remember him and Brian Urlacher were technically like 2 middle linebackers in a 4-3 defense. Yeah. That's what I think C.J. Mosley and Neville Hewitt can be. not probably as good as Lance Briggs and
Because I
Brian
thought
Urlacher.
Mosley and Williamson was going to do that before the thing.
Should be, but Neville Hewitt. Here's a Neville Hewitt was ninth in tackles this year. I bet you didn't even know that. He was ninth in tackles.
No,
he was actually a very good linebacker this year, filling in.
Yeah, very good. He was putting his hat on a lot in there, man.
So that's why I think that. So you build that. You get some corners, and there had to be great corners. I know there was rumors with Richard Sherman coming, but I don't want Richard Sherman at his age.
What about the guy from Denver that cut AJ?
AJ Boye. I take a flyer on AJ Boye. I really
thought about
would.
him when I saw he was like, whoa, because a few years ago I wanted him bad.
I would take a flyer on AJ Boye. I think that you get him. There's a player I was signed from Atlanta, Keanu Neal, the strong safety from Atlanta. And the only reason, because he has ties to Jeff Albright, who is our new defensive coordinator, who used to be the defensive coordinator in Atlanta. So he already knows his defensive system. We have a hole at strong safety, and he's not going to be that expensive. And he's a former All-Pro safety. So you can get him. You can put May back in his natural.
Wait a minute, Kev. All this stuff, this is pie in the sky. Keanu Neal, when's the last time he finished this? When's the last time he finished the season?
This season?
Keanu Neal is a, trust me, Keanu Neal is a injury risk. And if you got rid of Jamal Adams because he couldn't cover, why would you bring in Keanu Neal?
They got rid of Jamal Adams because he was bad in the locker room.
I don't need Keanu Neal to cover. That's why I have Marcus May. I can put Marcus May back in his natural free safety position, and he can cover. I need an in-the-box safety. That's why Ashton Davis can't play strong safety. Keanu Neal is that type of safety.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think Jamal Adams was a problem. I think Jamal Adams was a problem because Adam Gase was a problem. You know, that's what that is.
You never get any qualms. I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. Adam Gase was the problem.
Adam Gase is a problem, but this is my problem with Jamal. I'll never like a player like Jamal. I'll never like a player when you're down by 3 touchdowns who makes a tackle and flexes in front of the opposing team when you're down by 3 touchdowns.
I agree with you. I agree with it's the reason why I don't like Sammy Sosa. Like when the Cubs are down 2, Sammy Sosa strikes out. When the Cubs are up 4, Sammy Sosa hits a grand slam. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. So it's like so Sammy, you hit a grand slam tonight. You know, and Sammy's like, I'd like to thank everybody in the Dominican Republic for and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, Sammy, dog, when they were down 2, you legit struck it. Oh, even worse, you were down 2 and you hit into a double play, right? But when you were up 4 in a game that means nothing, you hit a grand slam. So what?
Unfortunately, there are too many players like that we've seen in our lifetime. Hey, Boost Mobile said, shout out to Shaquan Barkley. Go Giants. Get well, bruh. Hey, thank you for bringing that up because I always like being a fundamental person. Rule number 1, you never take a running back in the first round, especially a top 10 pick. Never. And what have they got out of Shaquan, Barkley, man? Oh my God! You never take a running back in the first 10 picks. If not,
I'll say it's worked out for Dallas. I know they haven't had their best season, but I think overall it's worked out for Dallas with Elliott.
Yeah.
You're kidding. You think that's worked out for them?
Yeah.
You know, Saquon Barkley
worked out for him for
Iran Barkley's nephew.
Well, no,
you know so you know that's Iran Barkley's nephew, right?
I did.
You remember
not know
Iran
that.
Barkley?
Yes, the boxer, of course.
Yes, Iran Barkley was tough, man.
Barkley was a really, really tough guy. A good hitter. You could bang, man. A good hitter. Unfortunately, he took too much punishment.
Yeah, but he did. Hey, so if anybody's familiar with the Chappelle Show, Charlie Murphy talked about how Iran Barkley got beat up one night and went to the club. Anyway.
Charlie Murphy, may you rest in peace, man.
Yeah, man. But Iran Barkley beat Tommy Hearns.
Yep, he did. But that's not the same Tommy Hearns that we love.
Yeah,
that was older Tommy Hearns that was already had a hell of a lot of punishment on him, and that was already way past Martin. That was, hey Tommy, how you doing? I'm sorry, Tommy. Say that one more time. How you doing today? Man, that left hook. I can't understand a damn word you're saying anymore, Tommy.
Hey, right. Hey, you know what?
Um,
Hey, the Yankees had a center fielder that used to talk like that. I don't know if you remember Mickey Rivers.
I was about to say Mickey Rivers. Oh my God, yeah, Mickey was
Yeah,
wild. I
yeah.
like anybody who talks about themselves in the third person.
Like,
Well,
like,
Ricky
like
Henderson was the best. Well,
it was
Ricky
the
liked
greatest.
that. Ricky liked to steal bases, and Ricky like. But when you have a leadoff hitter like Ricky Henderson, who steals bases and can be as disruptive, you could talk in the third person all you want to me. Every team deserves to have a Ricky Henderson, man. That guy was a really, really good ball
Oh,
player.
the Mets had Ricky Henderson.
I'm saying in his prime. Ricky in his prime was a devastating player, man. You couldn't stop him, and if he got on, he was going to steal one or two bases on you. Every game, he was going to have a stolen base
I mean,
reported.
that's the thing. I mean, the Oakland A's won one World Series when they had Henderson, McGuire, and Seiko. Like, I don't understand the picture. You have someone as disruptive as Ricky Henderson on the base path. How can you focus on the Bass brothers? Because if you have Ricky there, like you're trying to focus on keeping the runner there, but it's like, well, there's no point in me keeping the runner on if the guy that plays by
If
the
you're
center out.
pitching, yeah, exactly.
You know, this is a lose-lose situation for me.
Delano Steele said Tommy Hearns was the get hit man against Aaron Barkley. The man of Steel, that's hysterical. The truest thing is just, hey, nothing's worse when you love a boxer and they're at that part of their career. You know, whether it was Ali versus Larry Holmes, and you're like saying, somebody please stop this man.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
you just don't like to see it, and especially when you say to yourself, you know, Ali in his prime would have beat his ass, man, and he's just an old man getting a payday now. But God,
Yeah,
and
man.
also,
Sugar Ray Leonard versus Terry Norris.
yeah, and it's just or Sugar Ray Leonard versus Hearns, like the third time Hearns knocked him down, God knows how many times, and yeah, it's a terrible thing when you see fighters like that, and also
Yeah.
where they're taking punishment. And the thing with Tommy, you know, I loved Ali. I just absolutely adored Ali. If you heard me on previous broadcasts, but I saw him too many times just taking these liver shots, and he was an animal. He could take punishment, and he put his
Right.
arms on the top of the ropes, and he'd look at the crowd and like, nope, 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 nope. And I'm like, well, you're saying nope, 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 but in 20 years you're going to be saying, oh, nope, 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 nope,
Yep.
because he
Yep.
just took
Hey,
way too much punishment.
you know the thing I didn't like about Ali, man? So I loved Ali. I think Ali is top 10, one of the most beautiful people that has ever existed, right?
Yeah,
Because
jab, footwork, just magnificent.
and and and
Especially at that size, he's a massive dude.
right. And the only thing I didn't like about him is he never got a peak physical condition. Like, I mean, like, listen, being in shape enough just to last is one thing. Like being just doing just good enough to be proficient at your job is one thing. But man, if he had gotten in shape like a Ken Norton, man, are you serious right now? I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, and I know the training back then was different. You know what I'm saying? They felt like raw eggs and
Hey,
running 10 miles a day
if you watch
was
the
what.
first Frazier Ali fight, you're 100% right, Freeze. You watch the first fight, the 11th round. Joe's having a face like, oh boy, we're going into my territory now, and
Yep.
Ollie was like, shit, I should have ran those should have been
Right.
running a couple extra miles
Right. Right.
in the Catskills. I should have been running a couple extra miles a day because
Right.
man, I'm feeling it now.
Right, and because the boxers that came after them were not even as skilled or
Not
had
even
as much
close.
experience, but they were in better shape. You know what I'm saying? So they could do more stuff. You know what
It's
I'm
just
saying?
so hard as a heavyweight to do that. You know, I've always loved middleweight is my favorite. Middleweight
Yeah.
is middleweight, welterweight because heavyweights, if they don't knock you out in 2 rounds, it's an ugly fight
Yep.
because they'll be
Yep. Yep.
they're all out of breath and and that's why Frazier or a cup Frazier and like Tyson was small. Some of
Right.
the guys today are massive.
Massive, man. I mean, think about it. Tyson Fury is 6'9",
Pew,
like two
exactly.
seventy. At 270, he's not even in shape. Yeah,
He
I'm
doesn't
like,
have
come.
to be with today's guys.
Yeah, that's. See, I was just about to say that. I
Yeah,
was.
but in our time, the boxers would have had their head right on tight. So that long reach and everything wouldn't have meant anything. They would be so right on top of him, and they'd be
Right.
chopping him down because nothing's
Yep.
worse than seeing a big guy tumble down like that, especially
Yep.
when they get cut down from body shots. And then with the body shot hurt, and then their head is like, just put your head there for a second, boom. Oh, but Ali, unfortunately, he never had a punch, so his knockouts and everything was an accumulation of punches. It wasn't from a single shot, and there's nothing prettier than a single shot taking somebody out, or somebody that has that ability to take you out with a single shot. So Aaron Davis was a good middleweight. All right, from a nudie, 25. Hi, a nudie. Hope all is well. Aaron Davis. Are you familiar with Aaron Davis? Freeze?
I'm not.
Me either. Who do you have your money on, Fury or Joshua? Delano, I know it's going to sound terrible. I think they're both bums. So, Fury has great head movement for a big guy. It's like they don't fight anyone, like Freezy was saying, the Klitschko's and, so many of the guys got away. If you had a jab as a big guy, you're going to go far. Holmes had an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous jab. And if you love the sweet science, everything comes off your jab in boxing. So there's so many guys that, don't have a jab, and, it sets up everything, man. So stop it, C-Mac, what you think about LeBron and Embiid? They're power players who will knock anyone out of their way, but they're also kind of pussies too. All right, stop it, videos. I don't look at LeBron as a pussy in any way, man. He's nothing but a winner to me. I'm not I don't have a poster of LeBron on my wall, but I have great respect for him. I have great respect. C-Mac, I need Ron Lyle, George Foreman again in my lifetime. Oh, boy, C-Mac. Yo, that's my man, C-Mac. There wasn't really pretty fights, and technique-wise, when you see Foreman, he has those wide shots, so technique-wise, but when that wide shot hits you, or you hit Michael Moore as an old man selling those Foreman grills, he knocked that young guy the hell out. Errol Spence has a great jab. Yeah, jab is everything, man. So, especially at the heavyweight level. Larry Holmes had a really, really good jab. Unfortunately, so many guys are defined by their lack of competition. So, you look at Larry Holmes. Jerry Cooney was a bum. He was a big white bum, and he had the right complexion to make a big fight. But he was a bum. It was a setup. It was mob stuff. He beat Ken Norton, and he beat a couple other older guys, and I'm sure they got some money in the background. But he was a bum. So I never saw anybody, Larry Holmes, really, that he defined, who he beat. So that's why in our lifetime, when we had the Leonards and the Hearns and the Hearns and the Haglers and other fights,
And the Aaron Pryor, the Alexis Arguellos.
exactly, that
oh
you
my
had
gosh.
you had that's real competition. So it's defining that, saying that guy was not only a champ, but he was a champ because he beat this person. There's so many people that are champs, and you're like, but the person he won it from, who did he really fight in his career? Julio Cesar Chavez fought Tijuana cab drivers his whole career. Yeah, I'm with you. C-Mac, you may have heard me say my favorite lightweight of all time was Roberto Duran. A lot of people know Duran as a fat welterweight and higher, but when he was a lightweight, when I got into him, and he was lightweight world champion, he was unbelievable. But there was a
I
lot of
thought you were
guys.
going to say. I thought you were going to say Wilfred Benitez.
Benitez was a good welterweight. Unfortunately, his time, he was a very talented fighter. But he had Leonard and he had Hearns in his lifetime, and that's
And
he
Hagler.
beat the
Yep.
Pepino Cuevas, and there was some guys that he beat and stuff like that. But that's a perfect example. Wilfred Benitez, he would have been a champion if he didn't have some other guys around at that time that were just that level above him. Tommy Hearns was beautiful, man. He had that like Bill Foster. You had that just tall. So many of those guys that are tall and skinny like that, they hit like a rock, and you're like, wow. Everybody thinks it's always going to be the guys that are muscle guys, but it's the muscle guys that you're like, you know what? If I could last 2 rounds, I'm going to kill this guy because if all that lactate ass and all those muscles and all that definition in those arms after 2 rounds. Duran versus Carlos Palomino is a fight he likes to work. C-Mac, Carlos Palomino, an LA fighter. I watched a lot of Carlos Palomino. So, Macho Camacho, great showman. Yep, but you just nailed it. He was a great showman, just an ordinary fighter. But he was a great showman, And when you beat people like Mancini again was the old term a club fighter. He was a tough guy, but you just knew when he was going to fight somebody with quickness and stuff, he was going to get lit up, and he did. Just like a guy named Vinny Panzienza that I hated and loved when I watched Roy Jones just rip his freaking head off. Watched a No Mas Duran documentary during quarantine, Sports Vibe Keys. Yeah, the No Mas again, that was an older Duran. If you ever get a chance, watch Duran against guys like Esteban de Jesus as a lightweight. Just also his boxing posture, the way he had his right hand, he just had just gorgeous balance, just beautiful, the way he did that. Snoop Dogg has an IQ of 147. A fun fact. I'm not surprised, man. Putting together all those lyrics and all that money and stuff like that. Hey, he's brilliant, man. He's a legend. So a lot of the guys have IQs. Roy Jones versus coronavirus. Roy Jones, man, unbelievable talent during his reign. It came to an end with Tarver, but God, foot speed, hand speed. Unfortunately, a left hook on that jaw changed everything. So actually, I think it was a right hand by Tarver in the corner that put him to sleep and everybody's mouth fell open. Like, there's just no way he just did that too. Because at that time, when Roy Jones got knocked out, it was the type of thing that you just did not think that was, that couldn't happen. Quiet Money, our guy Quiet Money again. Quiet Money, hope all is well, my friend. Livingston Bramble got into Mancini and ruined his career. Livingston Bramble, another dude. Yep, absolutely. Those were just great fight days. There was just so many tough guys, and like my Freezy said, Aaron Pryor, wow, and Arguello, and all of those guys, man. So, hey, I'm gonna be going pretty soon, Kev. Unfortunately, I got a damn blood test first thing in the morning. I've been doing.
I hope it goes well.
Yeah, I've been having to get. I'm having some stuff going on, so I'm on some new stuff, medication, and they want to see how it's taken. So you can't take anything after 12 o'clock, and unfortunately, the first thing is like 9:30, so you can't eat or anything prior to 9:30 to just make sure the blood test is all right. So what the hell? Quiet Money, salute. C-Mac, remember Tarver saying to Roy, any excuses tonight, Roy? Yep, I do, Mike D. Yep. So, hey, I love that, man. I love that. So,
I'm still getting used to saying my name as a mod. I'm not used to it being in blue like this. Oh, man.
It's long overdue. Long overdue. So, sir, now that
thank you so much.
I have to address you properly now that you got.
Oh no.
And Delano Steele's laughing at you, saying, "Man, I got my stripes for a while, man."
I mean, I don't know. It just happened all of a sudden. It's like, boom! I never really thought about it. I mean, it never crossed my mind. Like, why am I not a mod? Why is my name not in blue?
But remember, when you get the mod, and the same thing goes to you, Keith, it comes with great responsibility. And that if you see somebody in the chat that's saying stuff that's not cool, that violates, and rightly so, Freezy's thing about using the F-bombs and saying anything that's stupid, racist, or, make sure you take care of them. You kick them out. You do what's necessary to
I
just
try
keep
my
everything.
best to be in the chat as much as possible. It can be kind of vexing trying to talk and make a point and still try and talk and have a separate conversation in the chat. And so I never want anyone to think like I'm ignoring them or forgot about something. It's like, well, I'm talking.
Especially during a broadcast, it goes so fast that there's
Yeah.
times when I watch the replay, I feel badly. Like I see somebody, my name will light up in orange, and I didn't catch it during the broadcast, but I see them say something to me, and I feel badly. Like, oh, I don't want you to think that I didn't address that. I just didn't see it. It just goes by sometimes so quickly. But I love hanging out. Like I said, I lived in the chat prior to ever getting on a show. So many of the people that I speak with, and you could see that when you at night, that I'll say goodnight to you guys, and I'm still on the chat for 15 or so minutes because I care about you guys. If you're cool enough to ask me a question or say goodnight, I'm cool enough to put the time in and say goodnight right back to you because you're my family, and I'm all about keeping it real, and I really appreciate all your support and everything. So thank you, Boost Mobile. With all these people in the chat, please hit those thumbs. So again, please hit those like, subscribe, or remind the bells so you don't miss out on any Knicks at Night and Knicks Morning Drive broadcasts. Please share this link on your favorite social media platforms so we can grow the Blurrens Tears family. Thank you again, getting us over 1,360 subscribers. 1,500, here we come. We greatly appreciate it. Again,
I gotta create some more burner accounts.
You got that right. Shout out to the greatest mods in the land, the number one mods of we'll go the old school Simasing, the new Knicks, and Bodega Wi-Fi. But I'll do a shout out because they're just awesome. Sports Vibe TV, again, Mazel Tov Keys on getting your stripes. Boost Mobile, Man of Steel, Delano Steel. God, Kevin Wright with that blue wrench, man, it's flipping me out.
I know, right?
So it's like, God, I'm seeing it jumps off the page, that blue. You just should make that blue and orange so it's really. Hey, Freezy, if you're on, if you could jump on for a second before I say goodnight. But I wanted to ask Freezy if there's another thing that we can do besides the blue to give somebody a wrench, if there's another designation that we can give some of the people. And I say this to like Allah Wise and some of the other guys, Quiet Money, and I'm not leaving anybody. I'm just using an example that they're. I call them field producers because in our gig we not only want their interaction, but some of them ask such deep questions and they help us with the show keep it. That I'd love to reward some of the people that are always keeping this show the flow with the great questions and everything. Giving them like stripes, so they may not be a mob, but they may be in green, that everybody knows they're a field producer. So, hey, Trucking with Mr. Coach, thanks to the job you guys do. Thank you so much. And, one of the things is there's work that goes behind the scenes. So when you see us get cranky sometimes, if somebody's trolling and things like that, you let it run off your back, but sometimes it's aggravating because you're like saying, I just watched a 3-hour basketball game. I took copious notes, like 10 pages worth of notes that they were not in an order, but you just have all of these things around, so, notes. Hold it. Where's that camera? Whoa. Notes to bring you the best entertainment and the best show possible. And sometimes it feels certain people, thank God 99% of you are so wonderful, but certain people sometimes don't realize the work that Freezy puts in. And not only, on other shows, that it's aggravating sometimes when you see trolls because it takes away, you don't realize behind the scenes how much work goes into putting on a 3-hour show.
Right.
3-hour show.
I hope we don't get lost for 15 years.
The Professor and Marianne.
Oh, man. I don't know. A 3-hour chair.
I just ask the people just be conscious and just be a little sensitive to that. A whole lot of work goes in by our guy Freezy and stuff like that. That just just acknowledge that element that sometimes we miss something or anything, but God, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Hey, Quiet Money, I'm always here to help, regardless of wrench or no wrench. Hey, Quiet Money, you're on that list. You heard me. Hey, Freezy, is there another designation other than wrench that that YouTube or somebody gives you for people in the chat? Because, like I said, Quiet Money, I'm always calling him like a field producer.
Hey,
Because
no, every time I try to give out wrenches, Quiet Money's name is not around. You know
well,
how
get,
you,
hey,
yeah.
can you give out a wrench now?
All right, hold on, I'll be back.
So I'm
Yeah,
gonna ask a
because
really
Quiet
weird
Money
question
has
for you.
earned this for a long time. I love my Quiet Money, and I'm
I'm
proud to
gonna
say that.
I'm gonna ask a really weird question, Foxy,
That's my specialty.
because I've never paid any attention. Every time I've ever gone to like the Tri-State area, I've never paid any attention. Do you have KFCs up there?
Um, we do, we do. I had one by me, but it closed down a couple of years ago. But we do. I don't know if there's one by me now in northern New Jersey. Um, but we do.
So it's weird. So KFC has these new like I don't know these like patches. It's like a colostomy bag or something. Um,
That's my future.
but it's like
Oh, that's
it's
very
like
appetizing.
well it's like instead of giving you like you order like the sweet tea and like the jug thing, they put them in these now. So this is like filled with like tea.
Wow.
And so I thought it was like interesting when I was like, what is this? This is like, you go into the KFC or Bojangles or something and get like the jug of tea or something. Instead of that, they give you like these. I guess they're like cost efficient now or something. I thought it was like the coolest thing. I don't know why, but it is. So
Well, I've never seen that. Yeah.
I got this the other day, and I ended up just filling it with water because I needed to drink more water. Um, but I thought it was just the coolest thing. I don't know why I thought about that, but I was cool. I want to keep this and just fill it with
Wait a
like
minute,
water.
wait a minute, Big Dog. I sent you $10, and that's what you bought. You bought some damn KFC.
What? No,
I sent you $10, and you bought some damn KFC.
no,
But that's not the question from the chat. They want to know if it's original or extra crunchy.
No. So I got bottles of water. So what I did was I poured the water in this. This is like 3 bottles of water.
What is that? An astronaut bag?
Hey, when you get to be my age, you got to watch your liquid intake. All you think about when you're my age is peeing.
It's like okay. So you know how KFC's, right? You know how you go to KFC or Bojangles and you order like the half gallon of tea, and they used to give you like the little jug carton things.
No, I don't. I never get a who drinks a half gallon of tea.
If you have a family, I'm saying if you listen, they sell it for a reason, okay? So if you have like a family or something, and
yes,
like, hey,
can I
give
have
me
diabetes on one, please?
So if you have like a family, if you get like the 20-piece chicken bucket thing, and you say, okay, give me instead of getting like 4 teas for your family, just give me the half gallon of tea. So instead of getting like the jug of tea, they give you this now. So I've had this for like a week and a half now because I wanted to keep it. And so when I got the waters today, instead of just going like just getting bottles and bottles, I just poured the bottles in here.
Yeah. Hey, Freezy, your ears must have been ringing. I was in the backyard today with my wife. My wife said, "Could you believe all of this snow?" She goes, "Do you know of anything that could possibly get rid of this snow?" And I said, "The only thing I could think is that Freezy had some plant-based sausage the other day. That I think the remnants of that one blast may melt all the snow."
Yes, you want to get rid of brown. You want to get rid of snow and have brown water in your backyard. Let me eat another salad like I ate today. Spinach and carrots. So spinach, carrots. I had a salad of spinach, carrots, garden peas, peach slices, and onions. And the strip
Yo,
home.
you
And the
must have been
strip home.
you must have been putting off smoke signals from that ass of yours, man.
I ripped a hole in this leather chair, the driver's seat. Yeah, I can't help it.
Oh,
The older you get, the more you realize some stuff you just have to deal with. Like if you don't want me pooting in public, then tell people to go home. Because
yeah.
hey, I'm just gonna be gassy, right? And the thing is when I go out, I'm always like, where the bathrooms at? Because I have to make sure that I'm in a place that has bathrooms because I'm gonna have to pee. It's
Yeah,
just what it is. So
yeah. I can't drink beer because of that, man. Beer just runs through me, man. I'll just be peeing all night. That's I'm like, give me my hard liquor.
I just
Give
want
me
to say
everything
that
but a beer, man. Pure beer just makes me.
this is
C
not
Mac
a
says we got a new Uncle Gassy.
this is not a canteen. It's just a pouch that you get from a restaurant. And I was listening to a Nudie 25, and it's like, wow. So I live in North Carolina, the great state of North Carolina, and it's amazing how people don't. Because he was like, "What is Bojingle?" And it's like, what? You've never heard of Bojangles before?
Oh yeah, he's a great
Wow.
tap dancer.
Not that. I mean, it's amazing how different parts of the country have never heard of certain things. Like I can't believe you don't know. But like Bojangles here in the South is like I'm not
a
a Bojangles
staple.
fan. Yeah, it really
It
is.
is a staple. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you, the dirty rice from Bojangles. I'm telling you, yeah. But the thing about it is I can't eat
Yeah,
it
but it's not
anymore.
like the places on Willis Avenue that have the arroz con pollo, the chicharron, and mofongo, man. I'll go with that instead. So,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a thing. It's like the rival to KFC. I don't know if it's a Southern thing or not, but us Southerners love our chicken.
hey, I think of Freezy. You know where I get some of my favorite fried chicken, or at least fried chicken wings? Chinese restaurants. You know why? They use rice flour instead of classic white flour, and the rice flour makes it real crunchy and light. So some of the best chicken wings I
Yep.
get is from a
Yep.
Chinese restaurant. And then it's like, man, these are meaty and they're delicious. They're so much better than those other places, or like getting wings from a pizza place. So, and I thought of Freezy because I had for dinner, I had shrimp. Well, he doesn't eat the bacon. Butterfly shrimp, which is shrimp with bacon on it, on top of I don't like ginger, so on top of my broccoli without any ginger. So I know I love my Chinese food. So, all right, fellas. Unfortunately, like I said, I got to take a damn blood test first thing in the morning. So let me get my thing on. I'll take my dog out. I love you guys. Hey, I'll see you Tuesday against the Spurs. We're on. The game starts at 8:30, so
Yep. No doubt.
the game will probably be finishing up just as we go on the air, and
Yep.
we'll go from there. But everyone, again, please hit those like, subscribe, and remind the bells so you don't miss out on any Knicks at Night, Knicks Morning Drive broadcast. Share the link on your favorite social media platforms so we can grow this Lawrence Tears family. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. Be well, be healthy. Take care.
Yeah, Freezy. It's they don't the people don't know, and I love up north. I love going up there. I do, but they be missing out sometimes. They be missing out. That I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Bojangles. I'm really not. I'm over KFC, but I can't help and I can't lie and say that Bowberry biscuit don't be kicking it. Is Freezy even there? Am I talking to myself?
Oh man, yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
laughing. I'm laughing. The Bowberry biscuit in the morning is crazy.
I mean,
Yeah, man.
tell me I'm lying. That's all I got to say.
And so the thing about a Bojangles is that you can go to Bojangles and get legit a chicken. You can get a Cajun chicken fillet biscuit with eggs and cheese on it, right? And you can get you a little bowl of grits or some sausage gravy or something like that, and it's like you eating at your grandma's house. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the reason why people down south have a little bit more weight on them. You know, you know, you know.
So I have this joke. It's not a joke. It's not. It's kind of messed up, but it's like a little joke. So I have no issue. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to say this the right way because it might come out sounding wrong. But if you're from the South, you kind of understand. Like I have no issue of going to like an older Black person's funeral. I guess sad. It's very sad going to any funeral, right? But at the
repast.
At the repast, that means some of the best eating. That means some of the best eating in some of these repasses. I know it's sad to say, but I was like, man, Uncle Jimbo sure he lived out a good life. Man, be eating of a stone.
Right, because you're gonna see stuff. You're gonna see stuff at a repast that you might not see in your corporate settings. So I'm often in a corporate settings, and you'll see stuff like bagels and your different types of coffees. You know what I'm saying? And depending on you might have your breakfast layout, like your continental breakfasts. It'll have, maybe an omelet station, or a breakfast station where they cook your eggs the way you want it, scrambled, fried, you know what I'm saying, depending on. But at a funeral, dog, I'm telling you, you're gonna see stuff like fat back. Like this girl asked me one time, she's like, Uncle Freezy, what is fat back?
Oh man.
Girl, you don't know what fat back. You ain't never lived. You ain't know fat back, girl. She's like, no, fat back. It sounds disgusting. And I was like, yo, but it tastes great. It's an addiction,
Like I know I use I don't even. There's stuff you eat like horn hash.
Yes.
And
yes.
This stuff like is the way it sounds. Like I can see how it like not be appealing.
Right.
But like I love liver pudding. I absolutely love liver pudding. You give me some liver pudding and grits and eggs.
Yes.
That's a delicacy.
Yes.
But there's some people who live liver pudding. That's disgusting. What is that?
Yes. Yes. Right. So my wife and her family are from the Bahamas, right? So they're from her people are from the Bahamas via Miami, right? So they're from the Bahamas, but they lived in Miami. I met a wife to up, whatever, right? So she say stuff like, I would say like, hey, when you go to the store, get some liver pudding and some soda crackers, right? And so she like, liver pudding and soda crackers, what are you talking about? So she on the drink aisle. So she on the drink aisle. So it's crazy. But at the same time, they from the Bahamas, right? So they cook goat. Like they love dog. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
I had goat, so I know.
So I mean, I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of that. I mean, now I don't eat all that stuff now, edible byproduct, whatever. But before, you would see all the stuff they would be putting in. My mother-in-law used a pot that was so tall. I was like, how do you even stir the stuff inside the pot? You know what I'm saying? You can't even reach it. You know what I'm saying? Putting all kind of stuff. But the thing is, people from different areas love different types of food, man. Love different types of food. Love it, man. It is what it is, though.
Yeah, the thing about it is, I guess when you've come, my grandmother just died 2 years ago. Because I keep thinking this is 21, so she died 2 years ago, right? She was 86 when she passed. So she grew up in a time where you had to eat, you had to make a delicacy out of what you can get. And when you grow up like that, and then you have, because my grandmother had 14 children. I still,
wow.
I don't know. I have, other than my dad, I have 13 aunts and uncles.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? So I remember when she died, reading her obituary, right? So her family read, I think she had like 6 or 7 brothers and sisters, 14 children, 29 grandchildren, and 17 great grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren. So I'm like, yeah, I think she lived a pretty good life.
Right.
That's a full life. So, I've grown up because she's from the country. Like, when us Southern people say the country, we all know what the country means. Like, you're surrounded by woods. Don't be surprised if you see some deer in your backyard every once in a while. That's fine. So I grew up, as much as a city boy that I am, I grew up in the country. So I can hunt and fish. And if there was an apocalypse, I'd be fine because I was taught to survive a long time ago. I may not like it, but I know I have those instincts. I hate fishing, though. I cannot stand fishing whatsoever. I just can't be stationary like that for that long of a time that it takes to fish.
Right.
Hunt, I can do all day. But yeah, so I've eaten pretty much almost any animal that you can probably think of that you can find in the wild of America or southeastern America.
Right.
And it all tastes. I mean, I've had squirrel, alligator, deer, hogs, rabbit. So I've eaten a lot of different creatures. And I say creatures. I've had to spend a month in the woods where I had to eat what I had to kill. Not always the best thing for a 14-year-old, but I look back on those lessons and I hate it. You look back on something like you hate it while you're going through it.
Right.
But you see why like your dad and your uncles put you through it in the first place. Like you see what they were thinking.
Right.
But like I said, you go through it and
like cleaning the hog.
Oh. Why I gotta do this? This is nasty.
Right. until you get a taste of that sage sausage the next morning with some grits.
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, I know why.
Yeah, so it was an interesting. I had an interesting childhood. I'm actually a pretty good marksman. Not looking back on it, like I haven't picked up a rifle in probably a little over 10 years, probably about 11, 12 years. But it's one of those instincts. I guess it's like shooting. I remember having me and my male cousins on the ground, lined up, doing target practice like we're in the military.
Yep.
But but some of those things that you like I said, you look back on like, why I gotta get up at 4:00 in the morning to go out there and shoot. I want to sleep. God, it's summertime. I ain't in school no more. I gotta waste my whole summer out here with y'all old crazy men.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's not even just like the meat part. It's like going in the woods and finding blackberries. All right, we used to pick blackberries, right? We pick blackberries. We legit take a 10 bucket and walk like 6 miles to this blackberry patch, right? And be out there. And I was little, man, picking blackberries. I would come and I lived in Jersey City, but I would come down south for the summer. And so in the city, I used to just walk to the Puerto Rican store and get what I want, right? Not just get what I want. I mean, if I had money, I could just buy whatever, you know. But then down south, when I came down south for the summer, like legit, the last day of school, right? So the last day of school would be like June 25th or something, right? June 26th, I'll be on 95 coming down south. You know what I'm saying? For the entire summer, right? And we would do stuff like Grandma would be like, I'm gonna give you this sweet potato, this for your lunch, but you got to stay outside all day, right? So she'll give me a sweet potato, and what we'll do is go fishing, right? And then when we got hungry, what we do is build us a little fire, put that sweet potato on the fire, and let it cook while we fishing. You know what I'm saying? And mess around. My cousin showed me this trick. He was like, when Grant wasn't looking, I slipped me some butter and brown sugar out the refrigerator, and he messed around and put that thing on that sweet potato, and I thought it was the best thing I ever had in my life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and them dudes, they was older than me, right? They was like 4 years older than me. I'm like 5 years old. They like 9 or 10 years old. And so they were like my uncles almost. Like everything they said, like everything a 9-year-old told me, I thought it was the gospel. You know what I'm saying? So it was, yeah, so it was weird, man. It's kind of strange. But at the same time, nothing ever happened to me, man. I was always in a situation where even if something happened to me, we always survived. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like anything bad ever happened to us. The only thing I did one time was I got some water out the well, and I was drinking water out the. Listen, man, when you're a kid, you so naive. I was drinking water out the well, and a toad frog jumped out the out the bucket while I was drinking it, and it scared me to death. And my cousin was like, "Ew, you drinking that slimy toad water?" But I was so hot, and that water out the well was so cold. I was like, "Man, hey, bump that." I mean, when I pulled the bucket up out the well, it had slime on the top and spider webs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drink ahead and drink this water. And a toad jumped out. You know what a toad is, right?
Yeah, I know what a toad is.
Okay, yeah. A toad jumped out and scared me to death. I mean, it was because I was looking at the bottom of the bucket and I thought I saw eyes, right? But I thought it was my reflection. Wrong. Wrong. It was a toad that jumped out. I was like, oh my God. And they laughed. They picked on me for the rest of the day over that. But anyways.
But yeah, so I had a lot. The funny thing about my grandma is, God rest her soul. As she got old, my grandma used to be like one of them hawks, right? Because we had to go to the big house with her house, and so she's at one of them. And mind you, she's living. My it's funny when you say my grandma had 14 children, right? But that's real easy to say when like the oldest one it was like to the youngest one is like a 20-year gap, right? So they weren't all in the house at the same time. But there's like a 4-bedroom house, right? And so you know that my grandma and my granddad had their own room. So you have three rooms that are all being shared at throughout the same time, right?
Right.
And so even when I was younger, my generation, like with me and my cousin or something, there's one thing you did not do. I don't care how old you got. You could have been a great grandkid. You could have been a grandkid. You could have been one of the kids. There's one thing you did not do in my grandma's house that she did not do. You was not going to go in my grandma's house, in my grandma's refrigerator, without washing your hands first. That is, I don't care how old you were. There's one thing she was not going to play. You can have, when I say that my grandma's going to be like, you can have anything in her house. You can have anything in my grandma's house. You can go in there and fix yourself anything, like just anything. But you was going to wash your hands first. She did not. She would pop me out. I was like, like 30. And she was like, pop me. I'm like, what? Grandma, I literally am in a suit and tie. I just got out the car from work. I have not been anywhere else. That's just how she was. And it's weird that you don't have a lot of that from grandmas today
Right.
now. What's that joke?
Right.
What is it, Bernie Mac? He said, "Ain't no more big mamas no more." Big mama like
Yeah.
42.
Yeah. 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 So when you said that, so my grandmother had 13 kids, right? and she was 102 when she passed away 3 years ago,
Oh
4 years
wow,
ago.
that's a long life.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I have a story to tell about her too, because man, it's crazy, but yeah, man. So she had 13 kids, and so when you said that, I knew exactly where you were going. Like so it's kind of like two sets of kids. It's like the ones that are in their 80s now, and then there's the ones that's in their 70s now. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And so it's like, there's like, the older ones, they up in age, because grandma would start having kids when she was young. She had to start having kids when she was like 16, right?
mm-hmm.
And then she stopped having kids like when she was in her 40s. You know what I'm saying? But my grandmother used to work in the puckwood bushes. I don't know if you know what the puckwood bushes is, but she used to they used to haul lumber, basically, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The puckwood truck. You know how you see the logging truck coming down the road with all with the trees on it. Yeah,
Yep.
she used to do that. So, but yeah, man, I
That's
know
a
exactly.
hard
Mhm.
living.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And so she did that. So when I was little, she used to always trick me into doing stuff. Like, she'll be like, "Hey, you want some of this? You want some of this blackberry preserve?" And I'm like, "Grandma, I love blackberry preserve." And she'll look in the kitchen, be like, "Oh shoot, we out of blackberries." And she like, and she was like, "Well, you said you want some, right?" I was like, "Yeah, Grandma, I love some blackberries." And she'd be like, "Well, go get me some, and then I'll make you some." Right? And so I grabbed these two buckets, dog. And mind you, I'm like 5 years old. I would walk by myself, right, to the blackberry bush. Like, I'm talking about by myself in the heat, no water, like filling up these black buckets. And so I was skinny and frail back then, right? I was frail. I was a frail kid, right? So, man, I bet you I was like 40 something pounds, not even 50 pounds. And I dragged like those two heavy things back. They'd be like 15 pounds of berries a piece. And I drag them things back to grandma's house. And she'll be like, "You're gonna be a good man one day." She used to, tell me that you're gonna be a good man one day. And I'd be like, "For real, grandma?" And she was like, "Yep, you're gonna be a big, strong man just telling me little. And we'll wash them blackberries in the sink, and she'll be telling me stories about her life when she was growing up. And every now and then she'll throw a little blackberry in my mouth and stuff, so telling me these. And she'll make the blackberry preserve, Cal. And she'll be like, "It ain't gonna be ready till in the morning." And so I'd be done washed up you ever washed up in a tin tub? The big tin tub?
I know what you're talking about, but I have not personally. But
Yeah,
I know the stories.
so because this is like the early 70s, man. This is like the early 70s. So I wash up in the tin tub, the water be chocolate milk black, because I've been played all day in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And I get in the bed and be squinting my eyes so hard trying to go to sleep, so the night can pass by, so I can wake up in the morning and get some blackberry preserve. But I'll wake up in the morning and everybody will be in there eating that blackberry preserve, and I'll be mad because I thought she just made it for me, you know. And she'll be like, "Oh no," and I'll be mad. She'll be like, "I got a secret for you, but don't tell nobody." And she'll show me the little jar that she made for myself, and it had my name written on it. So she'll take a little piece of masking tape and write Uncle Freezy on it, and that'll be my little secret stash. You know what I'm saying? So when everybody else is run out, you know what I'm saying? She'll be like, "This right here for you, so you'll have something later on too." And man, that'd be done made my day. And so I'd be telling, and then when I tell that story to my kids, they were like, "That story ain't true, because your grandma ain't gonna call you no Uncle Freezy."
That's the only thing they took out of that.
Yes, yes, the only thing they got out of that. That's
Yeah,
all
I
it.
can tell you I did not. I unfortunately was born in the mid '80s, so unfortunately I had my great grandma. You know, as your great grandma, your name Agnes. My great grandma Agnes, I was her baby, and so my aunt Nita, who just turned 53 yesterday, right? So my mom, here's the thing, my aunt Nita birthday was yesterday, but my mom's birthday is this Saturday. My mom will be 56. And so my Aunt Nita has lived in the same house her whole life. It was my grandma Agnes.
Get out of here.
Yeah, same house. It is my family's house. It used to be my great grandma's house. Now it's my Aunt Nita's house. There's an interesting side story to this, but I'll get to that probably another time. But so they used to tell us, like when they were growing up, that I guess in the 70s or early 70s, late 60s or whatever, that house had an outhouse. And it just befuddles me because, like I said, I was born in that house. Like my mom was still living there when I was born. Like my mom was like young, not young, she was like 21, but they had an outhouse. And I was like, you had an outhouse here? She's like, yeah, it was like 1972. We didn't have indoor plumbing. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Huh? I can't even fathom it.
And the funny thing is, we had to keep moving it. Like you had to put down the lot and stuff and fill a hole in, and you had to keep moving it around. Everybody didn't have indoor plumbing.
Yeah,
you laughing? I'm serious. I'm serious.
I believe it because here's the thing: the backyard to my Aunt Nita's to the house is like huge. It's this huge backyard, and I was like, I can see it. Like, I can see how you can move that outhouse around. Playing because it used to be. Here's the thing, and it's so weird, right? It is so weird. So in the center of the backyard, right, and it's been there my whole life. Like my whole life has been there. So 35 years. There's this weird block. It's probably like 7 feet by 5 feet. Just cement block. It's nothing. It's just a flat cement block. And it's so weird. It's like, why is that block there? And it's just in the center of the yard, just there. And it's just always been there. It turns out that's where they had outhouse. That at the time they just covered it up because I guess it was just, I don't want to go into it on YouTube, but they covered it with the cement block. And I was like, well, that is just interesting.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of us come from so the thing with my family is, on my father's side of the family, is we don't come from money, right? But a lot of people in my family are successful, right? Because of the things they learned in the country when they moved to the city, like when they moved to Detroit, when they moved to Baltimore, when they moved to Jersey City, when they moved to DC, when they moved to Los Angeles, when they moved to Cleveland, when they moved to Pittsburgh, all these places that they migrated to, they took the same hard work ethic with them, right? And so they wound up being successful in the city, right? And then now when they come back, like they are still country boys from the city, right? But their sons and grandsons are city folk. You know what I'm saying? So like when I see my cousin Rico, my cousin Rico is a successful real estate dude in Cleveland, right? When he see me, he was like, man, you be going down there being in that red clay dirt, man, getting all dirty, man. You need to come up here to Cleveland. And I'm like, dog, legit. I swear to God, there is nothing in Cleveland, Ohio. Right?
Trust me, there's not.
Right. And so he hit me up like he hit me up like 20 years ago. He was like, yo, Uncle Freezy, you remember when you said there was nothing in Cleveland? We got this kid named LeBron James. He gonna bring us about 10 championships. And I was like, really, dog? Y'all, that's what you bragging on? Some high school kid? Right? But anyways. But his father and you know, my uncles and them that's in Cleveland or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They still got country to their heart. But their sons got city to their heart.
Yeah. That's how it is. Like I'm originally from Wilmington. So as you know, Michael Jordan, even though the people know he was born in New York, If you ask Michael Jordan where he's from, he's gonna say Wilmington, North Carolina. Now, you remember in The Last Dance?
Yep.
He's like, I'm just a
Yep.
kid from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yep.
Like Sugar Ray Robinson, or Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard is from Wilmington, North Carolina. People don't know that. There's a lot of people from Wilmington, which is weird. Like Wilmington is also one of the most historically divisive cities. Being the biggest port in North Carolina, it's been fought over a couple of times in a couple of different wars. So there's a lot of history to Wilmington, where I am now. We also have, just right behind, actually not right behind me, but it's kind of off to the side, one of the last few remaining World War II battleships parked right here. Have you ever been to Wilmington?
Yep. Yep.
The USS North Carolina. It's probably been there for like 70 years. That boat literally hasn't moved in 70 years. It probably can't move now. It's probably stuck in 10 feet of mud.
Yep. I know. I'm 2 hours away. I'm 2 hours away from Wilmington.
Yeah. So this is home. It's progressive, but yet it still has that old school that they don't want to change. Growing up here, but across the bridge in Leland is like the country. Like we make fun of the people across the bridge, like, ooh, y'all from the backwoods over there. But yeah, that's my upbringing. Playing in the woods a lot as a kid, playing war.
Dog, you think, hey man, if you think you country, so I was stationed at a place called Fort Polk, Louisiana, right? And I met this girl, right? And I met this girl named Tasha. So how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
Okay, so she was about 2 inches taller than you. She was like 6'5", right?
Oh, wow.
So she was like 6'5". Like the Creole chicks that you see in the movies. Like she had like gray eyes, really light skin, blonde hair, but she had all these black features. She was black, right? And I was like, when I first met her, I was like, I can't believe what I'm looking at because you look white, but you seem like you black. And she was like, Uncle Freezy, I'm black. Black comes in different shades, right? I'm like, no, black don't come in different shades because you look like. And she was like, Uncle Freezy, listen, I'm telling you, I'm black. And then she was like, and who are you to try to determine who's black and who ain't? And then I looked at it, so I was like, touche, you got a good point, right? But anyway, I go see her people, right? And mind you, this is the country now. But her father had come from money, right? But their neighborhood was weird. So she took me home to meet her family, right? Everybody knew I was coming. They had planned it for like 2 weeks or whatever. Oh, I met this guy. He's such a good guy, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna bring him home to meet my family and blah, blah, blah. So she was like, hey, I'm gonna take you to my house, but you can't come in. And I'm like, you gonna bring me to your house, but I can't go in the house? What kind of mess is that? So we sitting outside under this carport type thing that they built. And while we under there, everybody in the neighborhood is just, so they got this black cauldron. You remember the Bugs Bunny movie with the witch? I mean the Bugs Bunny cartoon, and the witch is trying to stew Bugs Bunny.
Probably have seen it, but I can't remember it.
So anyway, they have this cauldron, right? It's this big pot that they sit on the ground, right?
I mean, I know what a cauldron is.
Okay. So they got this thing, and they have bubbling water. They got boiling water in it. I'm like, what the hell is somebody about to take a bath? I ain't never seen a pot that big before, right? So it's like, her father is like peeling onions and washing them and throwing the whole onion in there. I ain't never seen that. They legit had a bag of potatoes. They washed the potatoes and threw the potatoes straight in there. And then people are showing up. And I'm like, what are you making? He was like, yo, we gonna make gumbo. Right? And I'm like, gumbo? What is gumbo?
And with me, I'm from. Even though I was in the country, we ain't never had down in the Carolinas. We eat stews. We don't eat gumbos. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's true.
So so everybody is showing up, and everybody that show up, they'll come, they'll talk a little while, and they'll watch something, and they'll throw it in this pot, right? And I'm like, what in the world? This lady showed up with this big 10 pound can of beans, right? And I'm like, what you gonna do with them beans? She was like, watch this. She cut the can open and just poured it in this cauldron, right? And I'm like, what? I ain't never seen this before. And everybody in the neighborhood is just showing up. Like when they show up, they just put everything in this big cauldron. And so this dude show up with a bunch of arms, with like a whole bunch of arms from animals. And I'm like, arms? I'm like, what you doing with them arms, man? He was like, these ain't arms, fool. These frog legs. And so I was like, those ain't no frog legs. He took the fingers and spread them apart. And I said, well, I was like, yeah, they frog legs. Okay, I got you. You know what I'm saying? And so he took them and he threw them in, man. And everybody was legit doing. Dude showed up with a bucket of shrimp. He put them in. Dude showed up with a bucket of a crayfish. He threw them, I'm sorry, crawdads for some people. They threw them in. And I'm like, what in the world is this? This lady showed up with tomatoes. She put them in. So anyway, long story short, they do all this thing, right? And I ride with her pops to town, right? And we go get this thing of rice. He like, we can't eat this thing without rice, right? So we, go back. He telling me about how I better not mess up his daughter. If he killed me down here in these woods, nobody ever find my body. Oh, God, how fathers talk to like the dudes that's, trying to move in on their daughter, right? Kev, when I tell you everybody in the neighborhood put something in that pot, and that neighborhood just stood around till that gumbo was ready, or whatever it was that was ready, man, you would not believe how much food that community, had bought just for that, man. And then I was gonna eat it, right? But then I remember my father said, don't you go down there messing with them Creole girls and mess around, and they put that voodoo mama jumbo, whatever it is, or whatever what's they call it? What's it? Not voodoo. What it's something. What do you call it when them Creole girls put like a spell on you or something, and you mess around and be stuck? You know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about. I just don't know what the phrase you're trying to get to. Delano Silva said a root or a hex.
Something like that, right?
I think that's what it is.
So anyway, I try the food anyway, and I'll eat, and I'm talking with everybody, and me and her, like, she take me to this lake or whatever. It's like the creek empty into this lake, and we out there sitting. We take our shoes off and we just swinging our feet in the water off the dock, right? And she was like, Uncle Freezy, do you love me yet? And I'm like, love you? I mean, we just met. What are you talking about? But in my heart, I wanted to say yes. You know why, right?
Lord have mercy.
You know why I wanted to tell her yes, right?
I don't know why. Did you put a hex on you?
Gumbo. Because I ate that gumbo. That's why.
Yeah, I've never had. I've had gumbo. Not from anyone in particular. It was my first time. The first time I ever went to Mardi Gras, we had gumbo. It was pretty good at the time. Different. I realized something about New Orleans is they have mosquitoes like bats. Like, you seen Jumanji, like the original Jumanji with like Robin Williams?
Yep.
That's literally how mosquitoes are down there. They're like, what are these?
I know. I lived down there for years. I know. I lived down there for years. I know. I
Oh
know.
my
And they have
God.
these love bugs, man. You ever seen the love bugs? The two bugs. They connect to each other like a love bug will find its mate and they connect to each other and they
Yes.
just fly around stuck to each other. Oh my
Yes.
God! And it's a swarm. So if you try to wave your hand to knock them out, when you look at your hand, you'll have like 5 sets of love bugs in the palm of your hand.
I
It's
don't
like a
know what is it.
swarm. It's crazy.
And then it's just so like humid down there. Like
But the
just
gumbo, the gumbo that you had, was it in a restaurant or did you have it from somebody that made it?
no, no. It was in a restaurant. Well, it was. Well, it was. It was more like a tavern. I won't say tavern. That's a weird term. I would. You know how restaurants are in New Orleans. It's like a restaurant. Technically, it's a restaurant, but it wasn't like any restaurant you've ever been to before. Kind of restaurant.
Right,
Does that make any
right,
sense?
right.
Like their menu was kind of like, what is this
Yeah,
stuff? um,
yeah. To, to me, it does because I've been there a few times,
oh
right?
well,
But to others, they might not understand.
yeah. I mean, I've been to Mardi Gras 3 times now. Like the second and third time, it wasn't as bad as the first time, but the first time was like weird. Like I've been to a lot of places. Like I've been to Europe before. Like, I went on a European tour when I was when me and my friends graduated from college. We went on a European summer tour, and some of the stuff over there is weird. You don't eat before, and you don't know what you're getting because you don't really speak the language. So you have to kind of like interpret. Like I bought this like big book of like languages just about like on cuisines, like foreign cuisines and what they were. And I was like, well, this I think will come in handy, because I need to know what I'm eating. And the food over there is almost as weird as the food like when you go like to Louisiana. It's just different like that. The place I hated eating the most was like Germany. Like I can't stand German food, like at all, at all.
And for people that have never been to Louisiana, man, the state of Louisiana, no matter where I've been in the state of Louisiana, no matter where I went, it always smelled like foot. You know what I'm saying? The smell is something you got to get used to it, man. It's so much water that it's like man, the state just smells like backwash. You know what I'm
I can
saying?
see that.
The state just smells like, huh?
I said I can see that.
Yes, I stayed there like a year and a half, and then visited a bunch of times. Yeah, the state of Louisiana smells awful. But you know what? You know what other state and city smells awful? New York City, and people don't notice. People don't
You
notice
know,
how bad the smell is in New York.
every time I've been to New York, it's always very. How do I explain whenever I visit New York? If tight had a smell, it would be New York. Does that make sense?
If what had a smell?
If
If what had a
tight
smell?
had a smell, that's as best as I can put it. Like it just smells like everything and yet nothing at all. Like it's just you got so much piled up and it's just congestion. I'll tell you this much. If you've
Yeah,
ever been to
yeah.
London, London smells like New York. They're
Oh, wow.
similar in smells because I guess it's just the condensity of it. Like everything's just there, and so everything's on top of itself. So you're smelling everything at once,
Right.
and it's like fog. Like imagine smelling everything on once and fog on top of that. That's what New York smells
That's Jersey City and New York. Yep, Jersey City and New York. And you don't really smell it. You don't really notice. You don't, and I ain't gonna lie to you. You really don't even notice until Like you driving down south and you get gas in Delaware, right? Say you stop in Delaware and get gas, and you like, damn, why is the air so cold? It's nah, it ain't the air that the air is cold. It's that the air is crisp. Like it's not it's not smogged up. You know what I'm saying? Like legit. As soon as you get to Delaware, you get out your car, get gas. You like, damn, this is different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you out of the city. It's not smogged up.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just like it's smog and just like why is it always like this? Like London is like if you put that just seaweed to your face and walked around all day. That's what London smells like. Like just
Oh
wet
wow,
seaweed
wow.
and
Well, I
fog.
tell you. So I'll tell you that the worst place that I've been in terms of smell is New Orleans, Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like it's not a industrial smell. It's just like a weird natural smell of funk that's in the air, right? I mean, it's just a weird funky smell, like old socks, like mildew socks in Louisiana. That's what it smelled like to me. And not just dry mildew. I'm talking about soaking wet mildew socks, like an old mop. You know what I'm saying? But then New York City is kind of like tight, like if tight had a smell, it'd be
Yeah,
New
that's
York
that.
City. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
man.
just that's what it's like. And maybe it's just like I hate to say this because I'm on a New York Knicks podcast, but you ever go to New York? Like, if you're not from New York and you go to New York, don't you get that like? I hate to say this again for all my New Yorkers. I'm not talking about y'all, just your city. But doesn't it kind of smell like pee up there a little bit? Or is that just like my southern nose picking it up? Like, why does it smell like pee? Like everywhere I go on the streets. it's like, what is going on? I don't get that here in New York. I mean, in North Carolina. It's like, maybe, okay, so here's the thing. If you've ever been to a country and someone has a hog farm, you know they have a hog farm when you step out the car. You know a hog farm smell like the back of your hand. Like you just know it. Like if you ever been to a hog farm, that's a smell that will live with you
Yep,
forever.
yep,
Like you
yep.
don't, you can't even you
And
probably won't even
don't
see it.
mess
It's probably
around.
in the back.
Don't mess around and
Don't mess around with what?
and don't mess around and get it in your shoes. You may as well throw them shoes away. Don't get it in your shoes. You may as well throw them shoes away. You ain't gonna never get that smell out.
No, like a hog farm. If not even a city, a hog farm. A hog farm is probably one of the worst smells ever, like on the face of the planet. Um, God, the hog farms are just bad. Like, I don't wish that smell on anybody. That's just a bad smell. Like, I don't even like my sister's dad had a hog farm growing up, and it was just like coming back to the city, just being saturated. And like the first thing I need to do is just wash for like 30 whole minutes, and I feel like I still smell it. It was so awful, so awful.
Hey, Kev, I gotta put this thing on a charger real quick, man. I'm gonna disappear, but I'll be right back.
All right. So what's going on? I'm sorry to talk about New York, y'all. I really am, but New York just has this pee smell. Like when you out in the streets and like certain places, and it just hits you. It's like, what is that? It just smells like pee. God Almighty! And it's like, what's sad is that faint pee smell too. It's like it's just always there, just lingering around. Oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad. You know, my favorite place to visit, believe it or not, is DC. Like I love DC. Absolutely love Washington DC. Um, but it's weird there. Like, it's so weird. The weirdest moment I ever saw in DC, I was out. This is probably one of my first times ever going to DC. And I was sightseeing. And so I was walking down Constitution Avenue, right in front of where the Capitol is. And literally, like right there in the middle of the sidewalk, right directly in front of the United States Capitol building, the symbol of our democracy. There's like a homeless guy. This is the middle of the day too, so it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Middle of the day, middle of the afternoon. There's a homeless guy laying, like sleeping in the middle of the sidewalk. And right in front of the United States Capitol building. And people are just walking around him like he's not even there. And I was just like, this is a really bad sign if a homeless guy can just be fast asleep in front of the United States Capitol building in the middle of the day and just no one even cares. Because I've seen homeless people. And here's the thing. If you live up north, here's the thing about in the South, right? Where I've noticed the difference between homelessness, I guess, in the regions. Homeless people in the South tend to like be out of the picture, like they're out of the sight. Like you don't see homeless people in the South, right? Because they're like away, and then they congregate in like woods or somewhere. So they're like under bridges. So they're out of the sight. They're not like in your like up north. If you're visiting, homeless people are like in your face, like right there, and they don't even care. They're just there. Whereas and it's so unsettling because I mean, obviously I know that there's homeless people everywhere, but they're just like out of sight in the South. Yeah, but what's going on in the chat? But yeah, I that's the one thing that I greenhouse. Yeah, I hate talking about New York City, but it just smells like pee. But wow, greenhouse said they're not just around; they're part of the community. I can tell you that I don't know any homeless people here. Like I said, they congregate in like woods. Like you'll see them like you're driving on the road, and you'll see them like going like taking like a Walmart shopping cart into the woods, and you don't really pay it any attention whatsoever. You just keep on going. Did I do any tours in DC? So here's the thing about when I go to DC, because I go to DC. I've been to DC. I've been to DC way more than I've been to New York. Like I've been to New York plenty of times in my life, but I'll go to DC just for like a weekend, just go to DC. And so at this point in my life, by now, like I go to DC just to go. Like I don't even need tours. Like I used to go on tours when I was on like the beginning, so I've seen like all the historical landmarks, all the monuments. I love it. Like if I go to DC right now, I'm probably going to do the same thing that I always do when I go there. And it's so weird how you can go to DC, like when you're in the city, like the district part, and you could be somewhere and be next to somewhere that's like super important, and it's just weird. Yes, I have been to the I actually stayed at a hotel. So here's the thing about me. So I work, obviously, as you all know, in the hospitality industry, right? So I love hotels. Like I love hotels. I don't know why. So I try to say like I work for Hilton. I'm in the Embassy Suites right now. Um, so I will go to different hotels in different parts of DC. So I literally stayed, I stayed like a whole week at a hotel that was right across the street from well, not right across the street, but like down the street from the Washington Nationals ballpark, right? Every day I kept saying, I should really go and take a picture of this ballpark, but I never did, which is kind of weird. I am also a Diamond member. But I'm a Diamond member because I get perks. My uncle has lived in DC for like over 25 years now. He works for the FBI. Cool guy. I love my uncle Will. But so I remember one of my first ever times I was staying at a hotel, right, in DC. And I would look at my window and I'll see this building. And I noticed that this building was like surrounded uh by like rails and like armed guards, like military guards and whatever. And so I was like, okay, what is this building? And so I noticed it every day, like, why is this like buildings just constantly surrounded by like armed guards? Because it was in this neighborhood. It was in this neighborhood, just a random neighborhood. Like you wouldn't think anything of importance was going to be there. So my last night, I was out walking out taking pictures, right? So I walked over to the guard. I was like, please don't shoot me. I was like, I'm just, a tourist. I'm like, what is this building? Because I stay in this hotel like right across the street. Like, what is this building? And he's like, it's the United States State Department. And I'm like, the actual State Department? I'm like, is Hillary Clinton there right now? Because this was like she was Secretary of State. And I'm like, you telling me that I've been staying in a hotel, just a random hotel, right across the street from the U.S. State Department the entire time? And that's just how random you'll see places in DC. It's like I remember when I went, like the FBI headquarters is just in this random place, and like there's like a McDonald's. No, it's not a McDonald's. It's like a Wendy's and like a bodega and like the subway right across the street. And it's just like, why is like, is that the FBI? It's the FBI building. I'm like, why is this building here? Like, why is this here? Of all places, it's here. Like, you expect them to be like in some off covert place, but it's not. It's just like right there. And that is DC for you. You have no idea. Like, you could be literally staying across the street from the State Department. Don't know. There's a hotel like literally. It's weird because if you ever go to DC and you see these movies and you see like the White House and it looks close and it's like it's not that close. Like you can, if you're in front of the White House, you kind of have to look like, is that the White House? Like they've moved over like last, I guess, 20, 25 years. They've moved the fences back from the White House so far, like so far. Like if you're up, if you've ever been, like, if you know where the Washington Monument is, like, because it's like at the top of a hill. Um, um, Yeah, I know. Tell me about an RPG game, and they're like just the random places. Like, why is this U.S. departments here? Like, why are they here? Um, but yeah, I feel like this is a great place. Also, everything in DC that you need to see is free. Like all the Smithsonian's. And if you ever go to DC, please check out the Smithsonian Museum. What people don't realize is that the Smithsonian Museum is 24 different buildings, all dedicated to a specific theme. And you think the Smithsonian opened in like the 70s, and we've only had an African American History Museum for like 3 years. I'm just saying, it's cool. I remember I went when it first opened, and I'm going to the museums um, so many times, right? But if you ever go to the Smithsonian, if you ever go to the African American History Museum, if you've never been, I suggest you go. They have some really, really cool stuff there to really show the impact African Americans had on society. They have like some really cool stuff. They have like I can't think of his name. God, what's his name? I can't think of his. He has a pink Cadillac. I know that for a fact. God, I can't think of his name. It comes to me when I'm not even thinking about it. It just popped in my mind. He's like an old 1950s singer, and he had a pink Cadillac, and it's there. Um, but the bottom level, the bottom level of the African American History Museum is some really, 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 really deep stuff. And they have a sign right before you go on the escalator. Be prepared because it's like no holds bar when you go to the bottom level. And so I go to museums every time I have ever been to DC. Like I love history and art. Also been to the Louvre, a wonderful place. Louvre is probably worth $1 billion, the artwork in that place. But so the interesting thing is, oh, thank you, Greenhouse. Yes, Rick Barry. Rick Barry. Um, Pink Cadillac. Um, so as many times as I've ever been to the museum at the Smithsonian, there was one line for one exhibit.
Hey, fooling ain't Rick Barry, it's Chuck Barry.
Chuck Berry. Why did I say Rick Barry? Rick Barry is a. I appreciate you. I'm gonna get you, Chuck Berry. What? He Greenhouse got me. He set me up because he said Rick Barry, Chuck Berry. Um, um, but yeah. So there's only one exhibit I've ever had to stand in line to see in all my time going to art museums, and it's so weird and interesting and kind of creepy at the same time that they have on exhibit the body of Emmett Till on display. And it's where he had his own room that's dedicated to the history behind Emmett Till, right? And it is a very solemn place. So he had a line that goes in the room and it goes in one door and out the other. And you see all the news clippings, you see the videos of the funeral and everything. And it's very it's a unique experience. And it hits you. I said, oh man, this one. And they had the family has put the body there and everything, and it's very well, perfectly because it's in like an exhibit, so it's in a casket inside of a uh, thing, I guess, also to help preserve it. So it's not like it's laying out open in the casket or anything. It's in like a box inside the casket. Um, but it was very uh it hits you hard because you're in line there and you're waiting to see it and it's like, oh, this is gonna be cool, da, 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 and then you get up to it and it's like, oh wow, this is heavy. Um, but they did a very nice job in its setup. Um, but they have a very nice thing. It's kind of like this is what it's like. This that bottom level of the African American History Museum is like, this is what it was like. There's no games down there. The Holocaust Museum is pretty bad by itself too, but it goes to show you like when you're in school, I guess they tell you about history. They tell you, you have like chapter like, oh, this is the Holocaust happened, and all this other stuff happened, but it doesn't really. It doesn't give you like what it was like. Like they try to gloss over those things. Like, yeah, it was bad. Next chapter. Well, when you go there, it's like, ooh, wow, this is amazing. But yeah, I love museums. I love art. Um, the Portrait Gallery, I think, which is in Chinatown, which is like right kind of corner to where the Washington Wizards play. It's one of my probably favorite museums. Also, it's not like the Louvre. The Louvre in Paris is a fascinating place, but there's a lot to see in DC. Like, you go to New York, and New York is so like conglomerate. It's just straight skyscrapers and just straight like conglomerate, and it's really not like there's a lot to see in New York. It's just like you're in New York and you're just supposed to be thrilled to be there. We're in DC, like there's so much history. Like if you ever like been to the Ford Theater, the Ford Theater is a very unique place. How they have that set up. Um, Also, if you ever been to Memphis, if you ever been to, oh God, I can't believe that I cannot think of. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, I gotta Google it.
The Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee.
Thank you so much for saving me. Really, yes. The Lorraine Motel. I feel so bad I could not think of that. I am so sorry, everybody. Um, the Lorraine Motel is I don't even know what to say about that place. It's I've taken 2 trips on purpose in my life. In my lifetime, I literally have taken 2 trips to 2 different places to see 2 specific things, and then that was it. Is I wanted to go to Memphis specifically to see the Lorraine Motel. And I saw it and I was like, oh, that's it. I have no reason on God's green earth to stay in Memphis, Tennessee. And I went to Dallas, Texas to see the Texas School Book Depository. And that was it, because there was no other reason for me to be in Dallas, Texas. Both of those places are I really can't put a word on it. I can't. To be in 2 places that were evil, and that's the word for it. To where evil acts defined the future of our country from heinous acts. Because you can read about them in books and watch movie adaptations. But to be there and and take it in, those moments. It's almost like you were there. Um, I couldn't imagine being in Memphis on that day. I can imagine being in Dallas on that day. Um, and even Ford Theater was heavy too. Um, any because life, when is a place where life has ended, life of people who wanted to change and make change for the good, and hatred and bigotry snuff life away is very traumatic. Um, Case in point, here's a trivia question for you. And I don't know if you know this, the most watched film ever, the most watched film ever is the Zapruder film. And if you don't know what the Zapruder film is, you probably need to pick up a book. And they don't even talk about it anymore. Uh, and I really think that's what makes JFK's death such a polarizing yet horrific act, right? And you can say like Martin Luther King's death was horrific, and Lincoln, and like everyone is horrible, right? But the thing that makes JFK's death sad and yet tragic is is that with these police tapes these days, and I don't want to make this too too tough a conversation, is you watch it and you're watching the final seconds of a person's life right there. And if you ever seen a car crash, it's like the phrase that you can't turn away from it. When you see the motorcade turn onto Dealey Plaza, um, and that's the thing about it, like you see the photo, like with MLK, like you see the photo of him waving right before, and then there's another photo of him on the ground. But it's that sequence that you don't see. Like it's a sequence. Like I'm not saying I want to see it, but there's an inexplicable moments like you see the before and after, and in your mind it's kind of like, well, what happened in between? What was that second in between it? And that's what you get with the Zapruder film. The Zapruder films are right there. This is what happened. This is the last, especially if you take, there's a thing I think it was on the History Channel, because there's different cameras, videos that people took of the motorcade as it turns, and if you put it all together in one clip, it's interesting, it's fascinating. I suggest you watch it, but it's also sad. It's very sad. Greenhouse spooky. Am I greenhouse? Am I making this too weird tonight? It is like 3:45. It is a witching hour. Um, I did not hear that. No. Oh, it just happened. I can't say. I mean, Malcolm X died in 65, so it's 65. Yeah, 1965. Wow. MLK died. MLK. MLK died in 68. Malcolm X died in 65. So that was 56 years ago. Man, the 60s. God. They're taking everybody out. Freezy, you there? I'll leave you there, Freezy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I don't know how long you was going to be on. I think everyone's
Yeah,
tired of
hey,
hearing my
the,
ghost stories.
nah, nah, this was dope. We can end